That was quality.
So that's what.
But there you go.
Why were late anyway? Who was late?
Well, it's all the conversation that we couldn't put on the podcast or Facebook.
105 people waiting on YouTube.
Hello, people. Sorry we kept you waiting. It's my fault.
The scandal that we've just been talking.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Do I get charged for being late tackles? Since we get the order of the day, there are a couple at Hull yesterday.
Should we all just have a light and headbutt you, maybe?
Well.
Kevin,
if you're going to do it on purpose or you're just accidentally going to do it, then there's,
Jordan Turner's fault anyway.
If there's a clash of heads as we're going into the biscuit barrel at half time,
if we wait and cut the head.
Or if you're actually just going to line me up and do it, then
I'd take that as collateral
Liverpool
damage for a biscuit.
Maybe just over the last few years, Kevin Brown's thought, actually, I don't really like playing rugby, so I'm just going to have a few days off. I don't know.
Fair enough.
Who knows?
We will see. We'll have a chat about that and more. It's Mark, Rich, Phil, and John is with us today. Come along, John. The legend has been in hospital again, Dan.
Has.
I haven't had an update, so I'm assuming he's all right.
Yeah, I think it was this afternoon. So we should get it this evening.
He's under the knife. We're getting worried. We're going to have to deregister him soon. So we can get some more.
On the cap,
get some more players in the cap.
Send him to Toronto.
Well, no, what we're going to do is we're going to send him to Rochdale, and then we can get someone else in because it won't affect their.
Well, you know the conspiracy. We'll get straight in with the conspiracy thing.
Another conspiracy.
Rochdale Hornets, official dual reg partners of Toronto. I read this off the internet, which is full of truth. What Rochdale are going to do? I don't know who's free from the NRL. Some of them will be naughty in Australia because that's how it works. They're going to sign 2 marquee players at Rochdale. They'll never play for them and play on dual reg for Toronto.
But apparently,
can you not do that?
It doesn't work like that.
Well, what about Luke Briscoe? He went from Fef to Leeds.
Yeah,
not sure he was a marquee player.
No,
although he was very, very good on Friday.
He was outstanding, wasn't he?
What's Rochdale's squad cap doing? We reckon because they've got 1.8 million to spend.
But what Toronto could do is now I understand James Cunningham is out for a number of weeks. They could send him on loan to Rochdale, and which would take him off their cap, and then they could get someone in for an equivalent time. So they can do that if they want to start doing that.
But if you loan an injured player, isn't that kind of?
No, it happened. Someone did it to Working and signed loads of. Wigan.
Yeah.
They signed some players that were injured. It's like, why is that?
Yeah.
He gets them off the cap?
Surely that's circumventing.
Well, it's in the rules, mate. It's in the rules.
No,
so that's something
interesting.
That is something they could do, but we are aware.
So like the signing of Israel Folau, it's in the rules.
Yeah.
May not be the
rules
right
don't
thing
exist.
to do.
Although I do understand one of our Super League clubs has offered to take one of the Toronto players and offered some squad players in return and got short shrift.
I imagine one of them, the one was a halfback.
I don't know.
Fullback.
I don't know. Who was the player? I don't know. Answer on a postcard.
Yeah, I don't know exactly, but I'm guessing it would have been Gareth O'Brien.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who hasn't played and then played on Thursday and actually played quite
well. I could not play and I couldn't even get...
So there you go. So Toronto bottom of the table. They're the only team that haven't won. And the only team that haven't lost is Huddersfield, who won again. Well done to them. We'll talk about the Giants later. We'll talk about the Championship, where the big 3 are right at the top: Leeds, Toulouse and London. Featherstone have only played 2 games. They're unbeaten as well. And at the bottom, Sheffield. Worrying times for them. And York, I said it, did I say it? Second season syndrome. They've had 2 really tough away. In fact, they've had the toughest 2 away fixtures. Got them out of the way. I just think it's going to be a tough year for York. Because, they've had... Lee and Toulouse will probably beat everyone at home. But it's a division, once you get behind, it's hard to catch up, isn't it? So we'll see.
And no League One because of postponed Challenge Cup game.
Yeah.
No.
So the great first week of League One launch sadly has
gone. Yeah. You can get in touch on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube.
NRL 9.
TikTok.
That played this weekend.
Yeah, I didn't watch it. Did you watch it? You will.
Some of it. Not all of it, but some of it.
You know,
it was good, wasn't it?
I just think there's a concept there. I know we've talked about this many times before.
I saw the...
but when are you going to fit it in, Phil?
No, I think there are some decisions that they're making about how important this is as a format to bring in potential new audience. The television figures were really good.
In Australia.
And at a time of year where nobody's thinking about rugby.
But hold on. Less is more, as we've always said. Rewind Bradford Leeds, 10,000 there. Play that every week. There'll be 4,000 there.
Yeah, but
So it's there hasn't been any rugby for how long? What, since October?
But the Nines format appeals if you play it once a year as a bit of a special event with some celebrity players and some young kids who getting your.
It is worth bearing in mind that rugby league is it not the national sport in Australia?
Yeah, but I think there was.
What is it?
It is in two
Well,
states.
there's not really a national sport. You'd say cricket is. Yeah.
Yeah, but you crap at cricket.
David Warner won that
Ashes?
medal.
Yeah, but that didn't count. You didn't beat us, did you? You drew.
That's like when we won the Baskerville Shield against New Zealand.
Yeah, but when they kicked
Rugby
the penalty.
league's big in 2 states.
There was
Two of the
cricket
three
and
biggest
rugby
states.
union.
Yeah.
AFL's arguably a bigger game. Cricket's no more national. Football, soccer, has more participants. So.
But no one watches it on telly.
But
No.
soccer
Like
and
it's
rugby
in the
union, and I think was
Well,
some
rugby
cricket-
union's
cricket
basically,
was
in
on,
deep doo-doo.
and
Yeah.
and the ratings for the Nines were more than
It's a
double.
TV game. You get lots of tries, lots of big hits.
New audience.
That's the
Big interview with Eddie Hearn in one of
I've
the
not read
trade
it yet. I've
papers
not read it yet.
Ross
by a
Evans,
colleague of yours. Who was at Headingley last week unveiling, admittedly, Josh Warrington, because I think he's going to fight there during the summer. But
Oh, is he at Headingley?
Yeah.
It is, yeah. It's a combination with the Rhinos.
on the pitch.
was clearly
Because the pitch is looking so good as it is.
it might be the cricket pitch. No. Who was clearly asked about rugby league by a certain journalist who has an interest in rugby league that he's not a million miles away from your stable of writing companions.
We can name him,
Yeah,
I
he's
don't-
all
I
those
don't
evil
want to.
people we don't name.
I don't know if
The people we don't name, but the people we do.
No,
name.
we quite like Ross though.
Yeah, we do, yeah.
So Ross interviewed him, and he had some very forthright things to say about. Yes, he would get involved in rugby league, but he wanted the lot. He's not going to be working with anybody else.
No. You know what? I'm
And
going to
he
say
would-
this now,
But
right?
I'm going back to the Nines. He would look at that and say, "There's a televisual product there. I could get you quite a lot of money for that."
Yeah. You know what I'd do if I was Eddie Hearn? Right, don't tell anyone because I might put this idea to myself. But what I would do if I were Eddie Hearn, I would pitch to bring State of Origin to Wembley.
That'd be big.
Because it would be in effect like a boxing match. Get the people here, sell it out, 90,000 sell out, all your corporate. When it would sell out, let's be fair.
There's no
If
doubt.
you did
There's
it-
no doubt it would
if you
sell.
did it in 3 or 4
he
years'
would
notice,
quite
not-
easily.
Yeah.
Well, you're not going to beat your cat. I don't think you just ring him up now and say, "Oh, lads, you know
No,
that
but-
second game.
Yeah.
Just bring it over here."
I think you can do anything for money.
So, well, yeah, you can, but it still takes
Yeah.
time. You've got to wait your turn. But that's what I'd do if I'm him, and then you're in, and then you're a big player at the table then because you've shown that you can put the event on. And I can't. You know what? If I'm Super League, or if they had the guts, that's what I'd be doing. I'd say, right, we want you to come
You
here.
can work off that, can't you?
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
like, this is State of Origin. The next weekend we've got Wigginson coming, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
whatever.
you can-
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can cross-market.
Yeah.
And I also think, again, having watched a bit of Nines, that this sport needs a shorter version.
Yeah, look, I don't dispute that, but it's the great unknown, isn't it? Because, Nines is great. We had Nines here, it didn't work. It didn't work.
We didn't do it right.
Well, it didn't work though, did it?
No, because we didn't do it right.
Right.
But there wasn't a
Well,
spectacle.
what convinces you, Phil, we're going to do it right now? Because
Ah,
as when I look at the fixtures, I know it's Catalans are not
But
playing this week.
it depends who they is. If it's Eddie Hearn,
Names.
I'd be convinced.
Well, Eddie Hearn is not going to get access to all the things he needs access to at the minute, is he?
No, because he wants more control than he's ever going to be given.
And is Eddie Hearn talking about the RFL or is he talking about Super League?
I don't even know if he knows the difference.
Well, there's a slight problem.
But some people who own clubs probably wouldn't do them any harm to at least hear what he's got to say.
I was.
And
Well, wasn't that the case anyway? Shall we listen to this guy who's a multi-millionaire and really can make money out of absolute crap?
He got 2
Shall we
points.
listen to him? No, we won't listen to him.
No,
We'll
but it wasn't them,
appoint
was it?
someone.
It
I think
was,
that's what he said. He said some of the looks he was getting from
Yeah.
some of the club officials.
If there's a guy in the room that can make me some money, we should be talking to the guy that's going to
No,
make
but
us
that
some
was
money.
not their reaction. They were kind of like, who is this?
But that's what.
Yeah.
But how
but
can
we
you?
Two
How many
blokes off-
times have we said, Rich?
2
Right,
blokes
that's
off the
rugby
internet
league.
having a fight.
it's great
Yeah.
now. It's great now. We're starting to get the massive fights. How many times on pay-per-view there's been a fight and you go, "How is he?" This is, and we said it. It's the equivalent of, no disrespect, of Coventry against whoever
Nobody's in the
Newcastle,
bed.
right?
Unslet.
No, I'm not. Yeah, Unslet, whatever, and it's on pay-per-view, and you're thinking, "How does he get away with giving you this
Well,
rubbish?"
he said that.
But
He
yet
said
he
that in
makes
the
money
article.
out
He
of
said
it.
the YouTube. It's effectively getting
Well,
YouTube
KSI
is
and
the
the other
fight.
fella,
He
yeah.
said, the traditional fans of boxing
Don't like it.
Yeah.
but all these young people,
You know,
and Sky likes it because they're raising you, so we're making money, so happy days.
John, you know when he's counting his 20s, because I imagine he gets like behind his table and he's counting his 20s. Does he go,
With a pink cap on.
that's from a proper boxing fan,
Yeah,
and that's from
exactly.
someone who doesn't know what
Whereas-
boxing is? Or does he just go, how many 20? All right,
Yeah.
good. Well
Put 'em
done.
all together.
Well done,
Yeah.
But
lads.
unfortunately, and John won't appreciate this reference. We're at the moment like Jim Boyne at the end of the first half of Bull.
BFH.
5, 10, 15. Count out the rest. We'll be back after the break. 20,
Yeah, we don't even get a bendy bully though. That's the problem. We ain't even got a bendy bully. So, yeah, look,
Well, on
the nines is great, but we come back to leadership of the sport,
We
and
do.
at the minute we haven't. If
And
we're
also,
going to be honest, it's
you'd
not-
have to have
not
somewhere
right.
warm.
No, I'd say
You get, like, it's not somewhere you're playing in
it's
5
a
degrees
mid-year,
and
it's a
that, yeah.
mid-year thing. It's also something you can tour around.
do it at the Bash instead of the Bash, which, you know.
Anyway,
I was listening to...
Don't be
said
bashing, don't be bashing the bash.
we've said it
Oh my
before.
God.
It's a format that could be quite
work.
important to the
Well,
sport
the-
in the future. Looking for a new, young, vibrant.
And you've
audience.
also learned that you don't run at Courtney Hill.
You don't know
Yeah.
Courtney Hill.
But how did she cope with the weather? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, that was. That's why I took that video, because I was like, she's come from Leeds. It's like,
I'm not saying
from
Australia...
Queensland. I think, fellas, she's probably more used to hotter weather than you.
It's got a strange accent for someone from Leeds.
Yeah.
Research.
So have you.
Hashtag.
Well, yeah.
Hashtag
I like
research.
Leeds. I noticed... I was listening to another podcast.
Whoa, hang on, what?
One of these Rugby League podcasts.
Oh.
People think that we hate all of the Rugby League podcasts. We don't, just some of them. Or maybe they don't exist anymore, so it's all right. I was listening to Hate's a Strong
Someone
Word,
just
but
switched
however-
off then when you
Yeah.
said that.
Yeah, well, sod 'em. I know we're supposed to be nice to everyone these days, but, you know, you can't be nice to people who are not nice to you.
As soon as Wakefield win, he goes,
Oh,
"Never
well, we're
mind."
on-
He's changed
Well,
this
no,
week. He's
Yeah.
changed.
Wakefield
now.
win, Fev
Come
win,
now.
it's all good.
Yeah, well, they're unbeaten in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Waking
Well,
up.
Grand final now.
That's why Sheffield will be alright.
It does raise a question. How the hell did they lose to Hull
Yeah, I
KR?
don't know, I wasn't there.
Anyway, we'll
Wasn't
move
there.
on. We'll move on.
I mean, it's a good news is for Sheffield is they're playing at the home of Rugby League this week, so they'll beat Halifax, that's alright. Especially
Alright.
because Fax have to play tomorrow, don't they, against Dewsbury.
Dewsbury.
I was listening to another podcast, happened to be By the Balls with John Davidson.
Oh,
He's on every
Is it any good?
podcast.
Well,
I've never been on it. I wouldn't know.
He had that fella on from the City Talking.
Oh,
And
yeah.
obviously, having watched
The
Inside...
creative director
Yeah,
of Super
the
League.
creative director of Super League.
You think you could have a word and get him in here and sort us
Yeah.
out a bit?
As the creative director of 4020 TV, hence the quality of product. I was inspired by Inside Super League and We Play League for our great look behind the scenes at Wakefield Trinity ladies
Changing rooms. Be very careful.
That's something coming up later. That's
What's that, a court charge?
The X-rated.
no,
After 10 watershed.
Speed redemption. It was interesting listening to Lee Hicken say that Rugby League, Super League in to be precise, is a media property. It's not. It's a media property. It's a TV property. It's not sport necessarily. We have to get away from this theory that it's sport. No, everything's media. Netflix, Amazon Prime, the iPlayer, until it's sold off by the government next week. We've got to treat everything as a media property, and the clubs and the Super League need to be aware of this. And as we saw yesterday on social media outside of Super League, which we'll talk about I'm sure later, which is what the RFL should call their thing on the app outside Super League, they should call it that. Not everyone buys into this fact that it's not all sport, it is in fact a media property, which may have a value. May not have a value either, but it may have one.
Alright, fair enough.
But 2,000 people have watched 3 minutes of the Wakefield women in a gym with some interviews, which tells you there might be an audience there.
If only someone would tap into it.
I know, well, we tried.
Or you could buy the rights.
We
For a
tried.
reasonable fee.
We tried.
Yeah. There you go.
I heard people like the sign today as well, because that'll really annoy people.
I don't get it.
What, no, the sign there?
Yeah, I can read it, it's there.
It's a rainbow, isn't it? Where's Zippy?
Oh.
But people don't like rainbows, do they? Because it's political. Don't do politics.
Have you had to cut the top off your magazine in France?
You don't like to wave it around.
Sacre bleu.
We
Say, oh, no. Cuts it off. Can't have that in here,
we
son.
sponsored it.
Eh?
Wear it as a headband.
I nearly had to go to France, to keep my eye on Mr. Falau, but
Really?
thankfully I didn't have to go in
Well,
there.
Dave Woods
A lot of
went out there
people
and said
did.
It was all right.
Yeah.
It'd have to be
They were
Channel
singing his
7
name,
went,
weren't they?
Channel 9 went.
Yeah, it'd have to be probably the biggest hype around any Super League game that wasn't televised.
Apart from on Steve
In
Mascot.
Australia.
Well, it was
South
by Steve
East
Mascot. The millions of singing in
the
Singapore
Kerry
were
Packer
loving
of,
it.
the
Yeah.
Kerry Packer of 2020.
Yeah.
You know, in the 60s, when you used to go to the Challenge Cup final, A used to get a song sheet to sing along with the
He
Pretty
did.
Much Entertainment with the likes of Jimmy Tarbuck and that kind
He
of
did. I've got one somewhere.
And also they used to produce hats
They
which
did.
to wear, like the 4020 masthead. Like the Daily Express would do. I've got some hats, paper hat with the heads of the Wakefield Trinity players on. We should bring them back for the Challenge Cup final this year. 4020 paper hats. Especially if Catalans go there, we'll stick this magazine up. We'll just chop them up, stick a bit of sellotape on. Go on, lads.
I think Eddie Hearn would have been a fan of that idea, Rich.
Why not? Some hats.
Are you anyway? You all ready for the derby this week?
Bragging
Have you
rights,
seen
yeah.
Peter
We're gonna do 'em.
Matausi's video?
No. We're going to do
Have
it.
you not seen
We're
it?
going to do them.
It's very. Have you seen it?
I saw. I didn't watch the full thing, but a little clip on Instagram. He's on TikTok. Is it him?
When he walks out of his front door, yeah.
He's a machine on.
I can't remember
TikTok.
what the other.
I'm not sure what TikTok is, but
what the other.
On the TikTok.
What
It's
the
popular with the kids.
It's a takeoff or something, but I can't remember what the
Yeah.
original was.
No,
I don't want to be like...
they're quite good. Well, I think it seems to be the Cass Polynesian lads are really
Yeah,
into the
yeah,
social
they are, yeah.
media.
Well, Conrad Horrell was
he's great.
He's everywhere.
twerking on it the other day.
He's great, Connie.
I don't want to be like Ralph Rimmer and say we're going to do the Aussies, but we're coming for you.
All right. Very
We're
good.
lost. We're coming for you. We're in form. They're not in form. We're coming for you.
Well, it's form now 15 minutes.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
all it is
that's
these days. Yeah. Instant gratification society.
So Wakefield are in the grand final after
Yeah.
one victory.
Against Leeds.
Not 50 odd.
Yes.
Against
And
Leeds.
Leeds are favourites.
Yeah.
What word with Ryan Braley anyway
Warrington are rubbish. Yeah.
for missing that goal kick? Daughter, I want a word with
Oh.
him about that.
Yeah. Well, gamble responsibly.
Yeah,
All I'm
exactly.
saying.
Exactly. Let's have a look at the action and but anyway, I've got a point to pick you up on.
This isn't about a particular prediction or tweet, is it?
No, not about the prediction. No, it's about the tweet, the one that says that Toronto got bashed or thrashed.
What do you mean trounced?
Trounced.
It was just alliteration.
They
it
did.
wasn't.
They
didn't get
They
trounced.
didn't get.
It was alliteration.
I say, don't be upsetting
yeah.
Toronto's fans.
Erroneous
I
alliteration.
thought Toronto, 50, 60 minutes they were
Until
outstanding.
Josh McCrone's kick were right in the game.
Yeah.
Can I
But you
ask
can't
a
play for
question?
60 minutes, and that's going to be the issue for them. They don't have the quality
No, they
to
don't.
win.
They don't. But you put a Stanley and a Lussick
Sonny
and
Bill.
a Sonny Bill in there.
Not
I
more
said to
competitive,
I was on the
but-
radio with Cookie. Said to, if they score next, this DW won't be a good place for Wigan to be at 10-all. And all right, they came away and they won quite nicely.
Oh, the scoreline didn't reflect
No, it
how
didn't.
close it was, but
No.
they've got Warrington and
And
St Helens
Saints,
next.
Saints.
Are they going to be 0-5?
Yeah, well, if you're offering me
Well,
a bet,
And
I'll
you know,
say yes.
it's
and
a-
you know what rugby league's like. Winning is a habit, losing is a
Well,
habit. How
Yeah,
they're going to have to win some
I
of
asked-
those games.
It will change when they start playing at home a little bit as well.
Yeah, but that's
They've
not
got
till
12
round
players.
11,
No,
mate.
but
That's
But
not
Phil,
till round
if you've got
11.
12 players, how's it going to change?
They'll have more than 12.
Mark's
where
already
are you
said
getting from?
Cunningham's out for a
6
couple of weeks.
weeks,
Lussick's still out.
Yeah.
John
I
Wilkins
reckon
got an issue.
There'll be a couple on.
You know something.
I don't
You
know
know
anything.
something.
You know I don't
You
know
do
anything.
know something.
Conspiracy.
Look, you're very smart
Yeah.
today, pal. That's a nice jumper you've got on
It's
there.
just been washed.
I was saying,
Has
it's
it?
been paid for by Toronto.
The cat hadn't. The cat
Is
hadn't
it dressed
slept on
down there, 4020 or what?
Yeah,
you got your
so-
jeans on, you've normally got your suit on. What's
See,
happening?
we were accused last week on YouTube of being too Yorkshire biased, which again I don't understand why, because I don't think we were last week. We talked about West Wales for 10 minutes.
Yeah. Anyway.
I don't know. And
Before
that thing.
we,
and we said
um,
Kevin Sidfield shouldn't be on that thing.
Yeah, we did.
Review all the
Kevin.
games. Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Because it might have affected this week's games.
Right.
All 4 teams who didn't play last week
Yeah.
because their games were postponed won this week.
Right.
Is that an issue? Is that a factor?
Well, all
well,
right.
it definitely helps.
In week 1,
because clearly,
no one had played, but 6 teams still lost.
So, but
Well,
by,
they had because they'd played a week before,
by
or 2
the
weeks before on friendlies. But yeah,
by the 3rd week, is it an advantage to have had a week off? That you've been through a
the
whole.
buy.
I'm
Not
just
having
asking.
that. No, I'm not having that.
Well,
And if it's an advantage now, will it be a detriment later when they've got to
it
squeeze
certainly
out?
looked Leeds OKR. Leeds were like tramping at the bit again, and OKR were just hanging on.
But in fairness, I mean, that is
they've
an
been beaten up
extreme
by the-
example because
Oh,
they
no, it
played
was,
in a
yeah.
derby that's an emotional.
Yeah.
But
And it was a physical.
But if you
Yeah.
look at all, Warrington played in a high intensity clash
Yes.
against St Helens, which is effectively almost a derby.
Well,
It's
can I
almost
ask
a
a-
grand
can I-
final.
And they
Can-
couldn't back
can I ask a question?
Hull couldn't back it up against. So I'm just
Yeah,
at this time
until
of year.
Jake Connor's excellent kicking game, they were right
Is
in
it
the
a
game.
real advantage to have had a week off when you've
No.
done
No,
10
no,
weeks of
no,
pre-season training
No,
in this
because
weather?
we've had before when that's happened and coaches have moaned they've had the week because they said we'd rather have played, we're ready to play, we want to play. Go on.
Stop. Robert. Phil was talking to Brian Noble on Friday, so he might know something. Does Brian Noble know, though?
Brian Noble was sat next to us, right, when Josh McCrone put that kick in.
Did you have to apologise to the TalkSport 2 listeners?
No, I didn't, but I very nearly did. There were a couple of moments he just went, "What the hell is that?" And it was like, yeah, that's pretty much what I thought, Brian,
Is
to
that
be
the
fair.
same Brian Noble who signed Josh McCrone?
No, I don't know. Anyway, I'm moving on.
Who
Nice jumper. Do they
Stays
do
at his
them in your
agent's
size,
house.
Phil? That's a bit-
Whoa, we got that off the garden gnome this morning. So no, I don't think it did have an impact.
I just
if
thought
I'm
I'd
honest.
pose that the 4 teams who didn't play looked quite sharp against 4 sides who looked as though the 2 weeks previously and the intensity that had gone into a lot of those games had taken something out of them.
But is it not that you can have 2 weeks practicing your skills without, I don't know.
I don't know, I just wonder if this
I think
time
you are
of
gonna
year
be a
whether
bit
it is a
fresher.
factor. I think it was. I think you
I
look
think
at
the season's that long that a little bit of an enforced break isn't
I'm not so
necessarily
sure
a bad
in
thing.
week 2 though.
I think it because the week 2 comes on the back of a 10-week pre-season, which is all strength and conditioning because we can't do skills in this weather. So I think to have an unexpected week off and coming up against teams who are in that third game when there is some drop off in intensity for most teams,
Okay.
I think that balance was.
So what do you do? Give everyone the week off?
No,
in
I'm
week
just
2?
saying it. My question is it coincidence? I think the answer is no, it isn't. I think the 4 teams who didn't play the week before were significantly better than the sides that they came up
Well,
against.
I don't know. So who didn't play last? So Catalans didn't play last week.
Huddersfield.
They won.
And they were good
Leeds.
against
Huddersfield didn't win. They won.
Wakefield.
Leeds.
Wakey.
And Wakefield won a
And
game
Leeds.
that on paper we all said they probably wouldn't win
So
against the Warrington team.
No,
that
I
looked
tipped
tired.
Greatfield by 2 here.
Yeah, he
Now,
did.
now when I tipped them on the
Yeah.
media tipping competition
He
by
did.
2,
So
I don't know.
basically, out of the predictions last week, we all said Huddersfield would win. We all said Leeds would win.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
but we knew they hadn't played.
2 of us said Castleford would win.
Did I say Castle would win?
Yeah.
Oh, that's because of my anti-Catalan bias, isn't it? Yeah. So really, I think if you looked at the betting, there's only Wakey one that
I'm
weren't expected to
looking
win.
more at the actual performances. Because as we start
You
to
think
talk about the
Salford were a good chance of winning until Kevin Brown went Liverpool kids?
I was watching it in the midst
That was a
of. I had it
close
on
game.
on the thing, but I was watching it as I was watching the football, and because I was working, and every time I looked at it, it looked like Huddersfield were on top. Were they?
Well, I was at Hagley. I only watched the highlights, but it looked.
Just whenever I looked, it was always Huddersfield on the
Basically,
attack.
Brown went the headbutt, had a penalty, kicked downfield. They were camped on Salford's line. They got another penalty and they kicked that and won the game. So there was only about 5 minutes left. So
Yeah.
there wasn't much in it. for
Steve
us.
Price, this is what I want to ask the listeners.
Priced out
Has he
according to one
dropped
fan.
a bauble last week by picking his marquee player? Because I asked him the
No,
week
I don't
before,
think so.
but I hadn't seen the performance, so I don't know how it's affected it. But I saw he dropped the young kid at full-back, and he's moved Ratchford, who was outstanding at half-back the week before, and he's put a guy. I know Widdop's got to play, and you've spent a lot of money, he's going to play, but had they picked the same team as the week before, would they have won?
Could Widdop have played in the centre?
No, it's not.
Might be better than mine.
Well,
though.
Well, you, Gary Schofield, you're playing at loose forward.
Rashford isn't a half-back.
Well, here's the theory.
Well, I would
you
disagree
had-
with that.
you
I
had-
think
say from a man that was there.
I think
a
it's a very good
combination
halfback.
that was working for 2 weeks, and then
but they always were going to bin it, and that was the problem, I
But
think.
they'd lost Anthony Gowing anyway. Widdop could have just started his Warrington career at centre.
If you've got a fit Gareth Widdop, he gets in probably 90% of, or maybe more
He
clubs in
gets
the world.
everyone, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Of course he does.
And when you're paying him 400 grand or whatever,
Well, let's get an unbiased report from our
Wakefield correspondent.
Wakefield correspondent Richard
I
Shaw.
was in the press room yesterday.
You didn't have your shirt on, did you? Cheering,
Well, yeah, because
misbehaving.
I wasn't working for the press yesterday, so I was all right.
So you actually get club gear now, do you?
Yeah, I've got the gear. Yeah.
all the gear, no idea.
Look at this.
So he was in the press area, but not working in the press.
No, which sounds like a lot of people these days. They just turn up and do whatever they want.
He'll have his own podcast next week.
Working on it.
Oh, you are you? Oh, right, okay. This is like the demise of Oasis, this.
Well, I'm not going to be... I mean, Noel or Liam, though. Which one do people like these days? And Noel's a bit of a Tory, isn't he, so Liam? No, not to bring politics into it. The theory in the press room, because they all know the people in the press room, with the newly reconfigured press room at Wakefield, because we've moved the sofa so Gemma Carter can sit on it.
Can you put like a thing on the bottom saying A follows a Wakefield Trinity Party political broadcast?
No. The theory in the press room was they moved Ratchford to fullback. Yeah. I only had one. They moved
one tray?
Yeah, no, Jim. Probably wasn't it, no, the two. The theory is they moved Ratchford to fullback because he would be more experienced under the high ball in the wind than Matty Ashton.
Okay, fair enough.
That was the theory.
No, I think the theory was Matty Ashton would have blown away in the scrum. They'd have seen him disappearing over the main stand roof.
Yeah. So go on, how did they play?
Wakefield. Oh, Wakefield, we were alright. Defended really well.
Good.
Had 2 opportunities, took them, won. Chester in. We're all in now.
Interesting.
I'll change my mind now on social media now.
Not that they're fickle.
Last weekend's all out rubbish.
I'll tell you what, if ever you want to have a laugh at life itself, right, is have a look at the reaction to the tweets the club's put out. Because when Wakey, there was a tweet when they were at Hull KR and it went, try, poor defending or something. 16-6 Hull KR. Chester out, Carter out. Coach, he's not good enough. Get rid of him. He's crap. Get rid of him. It was like, it's just, come on, lads. They've been playing 20 minutes. There's 29 rounds left. It
was the same thing after Warrington beat St Helens, and I thought, I tweeted, a bit of perspective.
Yeah.
Well, when Wakefield, Warrington fan tweeted me, I told you, that's not age well. Price is a terrible coach. Of course, one loss, he should be sacked.
Wakefield's defence was really good yesterday.
Wakefield are not a bad team, I don't.
That's a good win. That's a good, really good win.
But that's a good win. They've pretty much almost got the same team as when they fished 5th. A year and a bit ago. They had a bad season last year, but they've got some good players in that team.
Tom Johnston's back and he's got a great try, picking up the loose ball and running.
Poacher's try.
It was what he does well, and so... if I was a Warrington fan, I wouldn't be walking away thinking, oh no, we're not going to win anything now, because you beat St Helens the other week at 19-0.
Yeah.
So, there's no perspective in sport at all.
No,
there isn't. In 2020,
from some people,
it's like instant reaction, isn't it?
Yeah. Every loss is like crisis.
Yeah.
But with Warrington, did the Gelling situation have an impact? Perhaps
I don't know.
Because he obviously would have played.
He's been stood down, hasn't he? So.
Is he a better player than Mamo?
Interesting.
That's probably arguable. Yeah.
So, question again. They're investing, as in they're hoping to get a return on a future investment in Luther Burrell.
Yes.
So he's costing them, but in terms of the salary cap, he isn't. Would he not have been a choice ahead of Jake Mamo?
Is he more of a forward though?
I'd
say him more
plays
as
him in the centre, doesn't he?
Yeah, but only really off the bench in small stints though. I see him more as a...
I just would have thought that he would have been... And he's been in and around the first 2 games in the 70s.
He's been on the bench in every game.
You would have thought...
in conditions that are gloopy. What did you call them?
It was soft. It was soft underfoot. I went on the pitch after.
Again, Burrell's...
You even get on the pitch now?
Oh, yeah, do everyone. Yeah.
Blooming
Access all there. Is
that what it is?
Yeah. No, it's from the LDR, wasn't it?
How are you going to remember who you mates are?
He'll be in the 17s.
He will.
All that stairs have gone up.
Not also in the 21-man
22nd man.
RSW.
I can't wait for the day.
I'm not the 18th man.
I can't wait for the day when Chris Chester comes out. Well, it was a tough choice between Fafita and Shawright, but I had to go with Shawright.
It's the man in form.
Shawright's fitness just edged him over the line.
He played a game soon.
I can't remember saying.
You were on the pitch.
No, I was just saying, I was saying with the pitch being heavy, Memo is a top of the ground runner, isn't he? That I would have maybe gone with Burrell.
And you would have thought going into the game with the way the two sides had come in the form they had, winding off that big win over Saints and Wakefield having a week off but losing to Hull KR in the first week, Wakefield would be the kind of opposition you would have thought going in that you would give Burrell a start against rather than St Helens.
Yeah.
At some point, they're going to have to decide whether he is going to be a regular.
What he's going to be,
if he's going to make it.
Well, they also,
Send him on
Keegan Brown
Josh.
was in the squad. He's a centre, isn't he? They could have picked him, the old kid.
Send him to Toronto. Any bodies?
You mean Manchester?
There is going to be a point where Toronto are going to have to loan players from somewhere. They're not going to be able to get them from teams.
Well, I asked Brian McDermott this after the thing, because by the way, well done Wigan. They put the picture of the press room door up on Twitter. I thought, fair play, that's good, good banter. I came downstairs and he was already in the thing, and I was like, oh god. So at the end, I can have a couple of minutes, Brian. He looked at me. I thought he's going to, and he went, yeah, all right. And I said to him,
I didn't have to get.
Is the problem now that the teams around you don't want to help you? They don't want to see anyone help you. Is that the problem? And he said, well, yeah. He said, it is. Yeah, that's the problem. They know the situation they're in now.
Can't really blame them for that.
But what they're going to have
not
now
with relegation,
is the teams that can help.
That would be.
Yeah, but the teams that can help them, are they going to help them? Or are they going to try and rip them off because they know they're desperate, and you might make a bid for a very good player and offer very little in return, knowing that they're hamstrung, they need to do a deal. And then if you don't want to help them, you're not going to. I can't imagine Hull, for instance, are going to help them after the war of words between the two clubs. Aren't going to help them. Salford, I wouldn't imagine will, and the teams that will feel they might be at the bottom are not going to help them, are they? But the point then is, and as someone said this, we could have the thing next year where we've got two of the probably people don't like Toronto for whatever reason, right? They're good for the game, right? They get more coverage on national radio than any of the other teams do. More coverage in the papers.
They're like any clubs. They have good and bad points. Mate.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. They do. Yeah. So I think
there's one point in there.
Yeah, no, look,
points,
so they're up and down.
Yeah.
But what's happened is the guy's put $20 million or whatever it is in, and it's the same at London. And we're going to have two teams not in Super League that have got that kind of investment that could potentially not be in the competition. What do we want the sport to look like?
Well, that's it, because I think you'd find that the investor in Toronto probably wouldn't hang around if they weren't in Super League.
Well, that's my point.
This £21 million that he's...
But where is the responsibility if some of that money has been poorly or badly spent?
Where is the responsibility in not giving them a moratorium on relegation, in which case it wouldn't have mattered this year?
Well, we've asked...
That's
John,
but we've already
asked this about London. Right, I've asked this about David Hughes.
Yeah.
If David Hughes had put... And he has put... He must have put 20 million.
I think he said 20
million in cash, right? If he'd have put that into Wakefield or Cass, they would have been Super League champions more than once by now. That kind of investment, they would have been. It's simple as that. He hasn't got anything to show for it. And I've always said, with the RFL at the time who were in control of the game, should they not have helped him more than they have done? I've got a question for me thinking about this, right? And there's all this... there's after-timing from Toronto about the... They've got here and they've almost spent everything to get here without thinking, what happens when we get there? What are we going to do? The salary cap management for me has been abysmal.
Exactly.
And people keep going, they've got to pay more money to get players in. No, they don't. Well, they're based in Manchester for most of the year. It doesn't cost you that much. If you get the right players in, it's a life experience. So you go to Canada for 2 months a year, whatever.
I'll give you an example, mate. You buy an Australian forward, Australian forward for 300 grand or more, you could get three similar English players for the same money.
Exactly.
But you've made that decision.
Well, this is where my argument would be, their salary cap management has been abysmal, and so we've had to pay over, and I think they've paid over the odds.
Yeah.
Right? So that's one point. When they were let in, right, do you ever think, when they actually ratified this, do you think the RFL went, they'll be here a year, the last 2 years. They'll have had a sweepstake at Red Hall the last 2 years. Do you think anyone actually thought in 3 years they'd be in Super League? And I don't think they did. And I think that's the problem. No one, you go, what do you on the sports look? Did anyone go, right, these guys are coming in, here's the money, what's going to happen when they get in? Yeah. No one has gone.
And they agreed to a deal with no central distribution that no one within their right mind would agree to.
I also think
that have handicapped themselves.
They have, they have.
The people at Red Hall work on the basis of expediency. So in 3 years, 3 years prior to them getting into Super League, they weren't thinking about them getting into Super League, but they weren't not thinking about it. They're just thinking, we don't need to worry about it.
But should we be letting anybody in the competition that cannot get into Super League?
We should have a policy.
There should be a plan
expanding the sport.
There should be a plan in 10 years. We want to have this, and this. In 20 years, we want to, you know what I mean?
Well, we can call it framing the future.
But we've said this before. We've said this before.
Yeah.
And this is the problem now. This is the problem. This is just history repeating itself, but it's a different brand.
Yeah.
And I just think when you've got someone that's willing to put all that money in, then you're a fool if you don't want that money in the game. And if that money goes, and there'll be people, we don't know what's going to happen to Toronto. They might not even get relegated. You know, I'm going to say it now. I hope they don't get relegated because I want to see what the next phase is.
And the question is, if they do get relegated, is that the end of it?
Is that the end of it? And in which case, are people going to go, "Oh, I told you so. I told you that happened." 20 million quid's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Why have we allowed someone to spend that amount of money without due diligence? It's like now, if I apply now, I want to set up a team in Pyongyang, right? Because I've got the money. Do I apply to the RFL or do I apply to Super League? Because I want to be in Super League. I've got to go in the RFL because I've got to get there. But I just think the game is broken at the top.
I don't think the North Korean TV deal's too big either.
To be fair,
it's bigger than the French one at the moment.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I think the other thing about
to be fair, in North Korea, at least Pyongyang will win every week. So,
and even if they lose, you won't.
The news will do that one 78-0.
But the other thing about a TV deal, which is quite important to all of this, is that the game has to do something to enable there to also be a TV deal. Like have an idea of if there's going to be another club
team.
or a couple of clubs in that area to make a television company.
Well, what they do in the NRL is they talk to the broadcasters, hence the talk that there's going to be another Brisbane team. They say, would you like another round? How much are you going to give us?
Yeah.
And clearly,
that doesn't seem to happen.
Clearly there aren't going to be dishes bought in Canada for a company that doesn't operate in Canada, but the profile of the sport has never been higher, having a Canadian team in it.
Yeah.
Look at all the media outlets that went to Catalan this week. Channel 7 and Channel 9 both sent their own reporters from Australia. It was a big story. No matter what the underlying morality of that story is, once it's there, it's a very big story. What are we doing to generate more stories like that, to get broadcasters who wouldn't normally cover rugby league to be investing in the sport? And we're doing nothing is the answer to that, because we don't have a plan or a policy. So you do what you like, Toronto. You're out on your own.
Can I say it to people? Because they're all asking, and everyone's asking the same question today, because rugby league's a bloody gossip factory. We don't know what's happened.
And even if we did,
we wouldn't tell you.
We wouldn't be saying it in public.
Everything has to go through due process.
Yeah.
And that could be one of many issues in the game.
I wish I had £1 for the number of times I've been asked today.
Anyway, Alan says, whatever happened to Liverpool RLFC? We went bust years ago.
That's one of the issues that I have when Mark says about money coming in the game and investment. You don't want to say it has to be the right kind of money, but when you get owners who, say they've got big money and they're going to do this and they do things the wrong way, do we just drop all our principles and standards?
No, I think
any rich sugar daddy.
They need to be allowed to make mistakes. But I think the attraction of money is a principle.
In fairness
is
to
going to keep the
Toronto,
sport
the
going.
only reason we're talking about them today is because we feel, as a panel, that they've got their recruitment wrong. And I think you've made a great point, I agree with. They've overspent on the wrong people. I dare say John Wilkin will be getting paid a lot of money. So he should be. He's adding quality to their team. I have no issue with that.
From what I understand, from talking to a lot of people, I think they've got about 7 players on about £1 million.
I can sort of understand the rationale behind it, in that they needed to get to Super League as quickly as they could. So they did. They over-recruited in each of the divisions they were in to get them to Super League.
And probably having failed the year before in the Championship, they then over-recruited.
Yes.
So who's responsible
I'm not
for
saying that that's the right or the wrong strategy. I'm just saying
clearly at the minute it is the wrong strategy.
I can see why it's happened. But I also think that as a sport, you have to look at more than just a salary cap and the borders of that salary cap. You have to have a policy about what you need from the future of the sport, because it doesn't matter how much money traditional owners have got if that's all the sport is, because it will run out.
Nick knows. Nick must be. He must be the head of the future at Super League. He says no one will be relegated this season, as 2 teams will come up. As this season has last for Luke fixtures. There's Nick. He knows.
Well,
there is a rumour going around that It will be 14 teams.
Yeah, but if you look right, and I would love London to be in Super League, but as it stands today, the top two are Lille and Toulouse. Well, Toulouse being in would impact on a TV deal in France that may bring some more money to the table. I would want London in, but Lille have obviously spent their money, and they may well be the team that gets promoted.
Spent more money.
The thing is,
I still maintain you need to determine now semi-pro and pro.
But I agree with you, but that's the thing. You can't really have a relegation promotion system when you want to. You know what I mean? When you want to sort of artificially, and you want to have that break between. Yeah. It's like having your cake and eat it too. Yeah. Make a decision on the way.
If we knew 3 years ago that there was a chance, or 4 years ago, that Toronto would be at the Super League table, because they made it evident from the minute they were accepted that they were going about trying to blast their way to Super League as quickly as they could.
Yeah, but who actually thought it would happen?
No, but we should have been saying, should they get... Well, not us, because obviously we don't. The game should have been saying, once they get there, what are we doing about relegation? Yeah. We've had this issue before in 2006 with Catalan. We wanted them in, we wanted a new market. We spoke to the commercial backers who were... prepared to invest in the team. We spoke to the broadcasters there. They said, if you can guarantee they're going to be around for a little bit of time so that we can get something moving, so if we're going to invest our commercial money on the shirt, we want to know it's there for 3 years in that division. If we're a television company, we're going to set up all the camera positions in their ground, we want to know that we're not going to be taking them down after 8 months.
Yeah.
And the sport decided that we needed that, and it was going to benefit the game, and that to enable it to happen, there would be no relegation for a certain period of time. The two went together. Expansion and non-relegation of the expansion team went together. Now, nobody considered that until it's too late. That's the fault of the sport. That's nothing to do with money men. It's nothing to do with how they've done their salary cap, all of which are valid questions. It's purely to do with the fact that those two things go together.
And Mark and Rich, what is the business model of Toronto? Because they've spent 20 million. They must, this season must be costing them at least 3 or 4. How are they actually making any money? Sorry?
Cannabis oil.
Well, how does anyone
central distribution is essentially the things that keeps the clubs afloat. They can pay their wages, and then they make additional money from matches, revenue, merchandise.
Yeah, early on in
Toronto don't get any of that. They pay all the costs of the visiting teams. They give away some free tickets, so they can't be making that much.
The only way you can recoup...
I just don't... Hence all the debts and bills.
Well, the only way you can recoup that level of money is not your sponsorship or your crowd. It's purely media rights.
But they're not getting any money from media rights, though?
Not yet. But I
think
they are investing that if the North American...
That's a 30-40 million pound gamble.
But in terms of the North American market, 30 or 40 million pound is not a lot of money.
But you look at what's happening in sports broadcasting around the world, the big rights deals are probably, if they're not over, they're on the wane, or they're on the...
But you wouldn't...
They're on the...
Relatively
are they though? Because the talk is the Premier League are going to launch their own.
Yeah. Well, the NRL are already looking to do their in-house because people aren't watching traditional TV anymore.
We mentioned the gamble last week with North American TV. Now, Vince McMahon has taken $300 million on a whole league that he hopes in 3 years' time will make money off. So,
and the thing is, the amount of money that Toronto would need to recoup to cover their investment in terms of a media investment is very little. So, rights may well be going down, but still for a very small proportion of even the rights at a lower level, they'd more than cover their investment. The problem they've got is one of the problems they've got is they can't go to an American broadcaster and outline what the plan is for the sport. They could be relegated next year. So why am I going to get... But there's no other teams in North America. There's no plan that even if... But even if New York came in, and we don't know what's happening to New York or Ottawa at the moment, but you would have hoped to have heard something by now, if anything. They're going to come in 2 tiers below where Toronto are.
Yeah,
so for a broadcaster...
Waste 3 years...
Yeah, that's not of any interest.
What money do they have behind them?
Well, it's not only what money they've got behind them. It's not only what money have they got behind them. 3 years' money have they got behind them? Because you're not getting more than 3 years. You're going to have to get there.
And I think the thing with Toronto, the red flags, is the lawsuits and the bills and the... But are we supposed to turn a blind eye to that?
No, but if you scratch under the surface of virtually every Super League club, there will be others that are treading a very fine line.
I always think, I know a few...
I think there's treading a fine line getting taken to court, isn't there?
Yeah, but hold on. I know a couple of wealthy people, and they couldn't be any more different. One wouldn't have him owing you £5. The other one would make you bleed to death before he paid you. And that's how some people are. The fact that you get a letter go to court, be like, yeah, well, I'll pay it when I want to pay it. You know, I know what you're saying, and I'm not defending
it's
it.
not great.
I just think when you're looking to make friends and influence people, is you do it the right way, and you deal with it that way.
But for the grace of Israel Folau, are a lot of simple influence.
Yeah. So again, it comes back. It comes back. You could argue. Was it a 29-game season this time?
Yep.
Again? So you could have 16 teams in Super League and play 30 games. And that division will be fully professional. And there will be no relegation. And then you would get more people investing in young players, investing in academies to generate more players to bring into their system. And it would benefit the game.
I think the other thing about the number of games is actually, no matter how many teams you have in your setup, you can set the number of rounds. We're just obsessed with home and away.
Yeah, you could say, I don't know.
But you could say we're only playing 22 rounds, even though there's 16 teams.
Yeah, you could do.
Then that scarcity value comes in. That some teams that you might play in the playoffs or every other year, it's a much bigger event.
Yeah. It would be rolled around, so it wasn't the same teams all the time.
And because you have a salary cap, your sport is much more equitable before the kick-off. So there isn't the idea that, well, they're favoured because they're playing a certain team and we're not playing them and they're rubbish. No, everybody starts at roughly the same level. Therefore, every fixture is of equal value.
There was a really interesting piece, I think it was in The Independent last week, obviously on the back of the whole Manchester City penalty, financial fair play, and just saying how I think it was the 10 or so biggest teams in Europe are just getting, like the margin of winning is getting, because they're getting richer and richer.
Yeah.
And that's actually something in Rugby League, whether it be in Super League or the NRL or the Championship, there is actually a much more level playing field, and I think that's a great thing. You don't want to see a team winning the league by, 50 points.
Well, look, we're 2.5 rounds into Super League. There's only one unbeaten team, and only one team that hasn't lost.
And one unbeaten team that's only played 2 games, not 3. So I think that's a thing we should be celebrating.
But again, you've studied the NRL a lot closer than we have, but when the season kicks off in 3 weeks' time, and the pundits write down who they think are going to win the grand final, the majority will go with the Roosters, I get all of that, but there will genuinely be a feeling that at least half of the teams that were nowhere near the playoffs this year have a decent chance of...
Oh, definitely.
Last year will have a decent chance of making it this year, and that makes the competition valuable.
Well, you look at...
and exciting, and if you
look at Manly last year, I think they finished 5th or...
I'd rather not look at Manly.
The year before they were, 12th or 13th.
Well, people are now telling me, you look at teams like North Queensland who've just won the Nines, and they're going, they're rebuilding. Obviously they lost Jonathan Thurston and one or two other players, that Matt Scott, almost irreplaceable. But they're now on that cycle where they're on the upper. Parramatta are another team that people are looking at.
Well, they went from the wooden spoon to finishing 4th.
You can do that.
Exactly.
We don't really have that ability to do it.
Salford. Well, you're saying that Salford have done it. Wakefield have obviously finished top 5 a couple of years. I think seems like it's starting to happen.
And it might be Huddersfield this year, but it's the exception rather than the rule. We don't look at the start of the season and go, well, I really can't pick who's going to win, because any one of those 12 teams could win it. And that's what we need to get to. And you only do that by actually having a concerted plan about what expansion means, what television coverage means, the number of fixtures that will get you that, how the salary cap actually works, how the talent... I mean, I know it's off topic a little bit, and we haven't spoken about the games yet, and we've got plenty of time.
No, I think it's important.
I am mystified by a lot of things, but one of the things I don't understand at the moment is reserve grade. There was a lot of call to bring back reserve grade.
Because it's something from the past that people go, 10,000 people watched Wigan versus Oldham Reserves in 1997.
There was a game on Saturday.
So we've got to go to it. And Wakefield have had 2 games called off the last 2 weeks.
But there was a game on Saturday where a combined Leeds, Batley and Featherstone reserve grade team, called Leeds, because it was playing in the Leeds kit, played Bradford. There is Huddersfield, Halifax and Hunslet playing together as a reserve grade team. Now,
all about the game.
Again, surely that should tell us that for all the plans from Super League downwards is dependent upon the quality and number of players that you've got that play the sport. And if there aren't as many as we'd like to think there are, whilst we admire a lot of what, everybody who plays in League One and the Championship, they're all heroes to me. The truth is that the very, very elite top level, which is what you're talking about, is attracting money from broadcast investors. We don't have enough players.
There's not enough.
Therefore, why have we got so many games?
Because people wanted the reserves.
But why have we got so many games over so many different tiers of competition? Because all you're doing is diluting your product.
People know
which makes it harder to sell.
Definitely. Yeah.
We've got to have reserve grade back. It'll make everything better.
But it starts with having less teams in Super League and less games.
I wasted 5 minutes of the Wakefield reserve team coach's life the other week interviewing him about it, and then the game got called off. Could have done something much better than speak to me. I didn't have to go up all upstairs as well. A couple of things on social media I just want to clear up, because people are asking questions. Andrew asking about discrepancies in the disciplinary process and how people are banned. And ask Rod Studd about that, because he's got a direct line to the people who answer the thing.
Yeah, I've been hammering Rod, though. I've been hammering him.
How is Rod able to not talk about VAR for 5 minutes? I thought he went into a breakdown if he didn't talk about VAR.
Already. Jesus, wow.
Hashtag stick the darts.
All right, don't look at me.
How are you?
I'll say anything. What else was on there? Do you think the Nines starting the season were better than friendlies? So the RFL put up a purse of £250,000. Come on, Craig. Where's that £250,000 coming from?
No, I think it's a mid-season, firm pitches, good weather, weekend event type of thing. It's not
in a pitch like this one.
Yeah, it's solid. There was something else on social media I was going to bring up. Oh yes, because you mentioned. Basically, we're talking about promotion and relegation, and it ends up with us talking about licensing, because licensing is the answer, but we can't have licensing because people don't want it. Because like relegation, we've got to have. Like reserves,
in this country, but
we're going to have promotion and relegation. The big story in quote-unquote rugby last week was the fact that the Rugby Football Union, who have got a few quid, because I've seen it on the telly, they've got that big stadium in London, and all the people play, they all go watch and drink pins and stuff to watch.
Emirates.
Out the back of their Land Rovers.
Yeah. And that's while we sit up in the north with our flat caps and our whippets and eating Bovril. Slices of it on sandwiches with dripping. And the Rugby Football Union have decided to slash funding to the Championship in an amazing thing. When Saracens are going into it as well. Well, there you go.
Who's going to win that league? Saracens with their £6 million.
Or Yorkshire Carnegie.
Or Yorkshire Carnegie with their 288,000.
They won't be in it. They won't be in it.
No, it's not all the players are leaving. They've got a league. So Shabba said, following on from the RU Championship's decision to slash, or the RU, anyway. 2 questions, if possible, for Monday's podcast. A, does anyone know of the team know what the prize money central funding is in this year's Championship League 1? B, if the game eventually went to a Super League 2 come 2022, what central funding amount would be deemed enough to run a full-time team? We could ask people about that. But the problem is, we've got a second tier who, apparently, some players within aren't that bothered about being on telly and stuff. They want to be on telly, and then when they are on telly, they moan about the time of the games and stuff. There's an interesting point here, isn't there, in terms of rugby union is obviously seen, and they had massive troubles when they went professional. That teams weren't professional, who couldn't afford it, and went bust. Traditional names. I think wasn't a top boxing promoter involved in one of them, one who may have been lost one of his key men this week. I think it was Richmond who went. Wakefield went obviously after the Bradford Bulls.
And interestingly,
because it was them,
when they went, they didn't just like get. Oh,
don't
worry, lads. You come back here. They just kicked them out, didn't they?
Gone. Don't exist.
Shut down.
Don't exist. And they're obviously realising now that the money is in the top division. The money is not in.
It's a different way of effectively pulling up the moat.
Yeah,
the draw.
I think the controversy is though. Whereas Super League, in fairness, has said to the Championship in Rugby League, look, in 3 years, this might be potentially what happens. There'll be players signed up to contracts in the Championship in Rugby Union, and the clubs have just been told, oh yeah, you're getting 300 grand less funding next year. They can now not pay some of those players. That's the problem. Yeah. You know, it's pointed out to me that half of or certainly about 7 or 8, might have even been more. The last England team to play started in the Championship. were playing in the Championship.
Well, essentially, it's a feeder league.
Yes.
I mean,
but it's not going to be now, though, is it? Because if you can play in a feeder league and earn 60 grand, and with the hope of getting in, well, you aren't going to get in.
They're still going to have somewhere to learn. You know, they're not going to go straight into
the reserves, won't they? They've
got
reserves, haven't they?
But it seems like they're trying to go to an American, an NBA, NFL style. We have that feeder system.
Yeah,
and then the top
guys,
you don't have in football.
They've got certain people that can afford to pay the $5 million or whatever you've got to have to run a team in that. So.
But I also think they're cutting their cloth according to what
they
will realise. But that's part of it, that there isn't sufficient money coming in to do all of the things that they wanted to do, and those at the head of the table don't want to relinquish their position. But the other thing is, a private equity firm has totally different values of what a sport should look like, and where the sport should be played, when it should be played.
They're only worried about the bottom line.
Yes, they're not worried about grassroots. They are not going to get that.
In fairness, so
if we had a private equity company come in and bought Super League, which at the moment there's no sign that they are going to do that.
Well, and they didn't want to buy it, they just wanted to invest a little bit in, and they were getting all the money back off the TV deal.
And they were going to do it only in Super League. They are not interested in any club that doesn't play in Super League or doesn't ever look like it could contribute to returning their investment. No. And that's what's happening in rugby union. They've looked at it and gone, London Scottish doesn't mean a thing.
But why did... I'm talking about rugby, but so why have Carnegie then wasted so much time when they didn't have a man who was going to come in and put $5 million to keep them going every year? So they've busted the club trying to get in the Premiership. And once they got in, they'd just come straight back down because they haven't got.
I think
you look at all those teams in the thing, but they're spending $5-7 million quid on players.
They are a development team, and they were hoping that as part of the plan of the future expansion of rugby union, they wanted a team in the north of England that was sustainable. And they wanted to be in when the drawbridge was pulled up, and now they're out and will probably never get in.
So what happens to the second and third tiers of our sport?
There are
they going to draw the...
Well, going back to the point you just made about there's been a lot of criticism.
You've got criticised, I've got criticised.
Have I been criticised? Why have I been criticised?
On the social media for I think it was an Oldham fan moaning that they had to go all the way up to wherever it was to come back at 10 in the morning. Yeah, the kids are at school and blah blah.
Don't
blah,
have
blah,
to go.
Blah,
right,
yeah. So what happens then? What happens when Oldham get in Super League then, and they've got to play at work at Whitehaven because Whitehaven got in as well on a Thursday night? What are you going to do there? You're going to moan about that as well. My point is the RFL, and we're quick to criticise the RFL whenever we get the chance.
They do make it relatively.
They'll be on the phone. They'll be on the phone. You want to be like
there's an open goal. Would you like to score?
But I actually think, and we said this, and we had a dalliance where we tried to get the Women's Super League rights, and we said if we get them, we would ask that there's a specific kick-off time. We mentioned 12 o'clock on a Sunday, whereby no one else is playing Rugby League. Because for me, and I've said this about Sky, and I still never understand, the Thursday I get, there's only one game. Why there's more than one game on a Friday, I just do not know. I would, as Sky, be saying, whoa, how many millions? Yeah, you'll play when we tell you to play. And there'll be one game Thursday, one game Friday.
I don't think Sky has as much, from what I've been told.
It's not like the football, is it, when they change games?
I don't think they have, I think sometimes Sky has to fight tooth and tail to get access to players and that sort of thing.
So, but my point is if I'm paying that money, I'm saying I'm paying it and you're all watching it. Like the NFL, they all watch that game. And I think the Sunday night slot is a good slot. It proved that. I think they've got really good audiences for the playoffs and the Championship.
Yeah, that was a great slot. Yeah.
Because there's no other rugby on. Well, and when are you more likely to watch rugby when there's none on? Right, I want to watch some now. Get me a game 100%. On. So I get the fact that they've gone for this 6:30 kick-off time, 6:15. It's awkward because Whitehaven's a long way away from anywhere. So what do? Don't have Whitehaven on? Well, that's not fair, is it? You're in. You get your games on. So I understand the annoyance and all this. Well, we've got a bit of work at 6 in the morning. I get it. I do get it. I really do get it. But you've got to look at it, lads, a bit longer term, because if this don't take off and Sky don't pump more money into the game, in 2 years you aren't going to be getting paid to go play at Whitehaven. Or if you do, it'll be 50 quid if you win and 25 if you lose. So you need to look at the bigger... My opinion is you need to look at the bigger picture. So yeah, you've had to do it, Oldham. The fans, you don't have to go to every game. No one will think any less of you if you go, actually, I don't want to come home at 1 o'clock in the morning from a game, I'll watch it on the app that's free to view. I'll watch it on there. You can watch, no one's going to think any less of you. The players, it's a tough night. I dare say they've been out and whatever and got up for work the next day, and had 5 hours kip. They'll have done that at some point or whatever. I don't be moaning about the RFL trying to look after you in the long term. That was my point.
Well, and especially not when...
And that's my point. Is you've got to look at the bigger picture, guy, because in 2 years you won't be getting paid, I don't know what they get, 300 quid a game, whatever, because the money won't be there. And that's what you've got to be careful of. And I just think people that come out and criticise it, if I come out and said, why couldn't we have played at 12 o'clock, then people will be moaning they've got to get up at 7 o'clock. Oh, working yesterday, I've got to get up at 7 o'clock to go to the game. So they can't, the RFL, in my opinion, can't win. But I'm looking at it this week. The Our League game, Bradford against Sunderbank. That's on the BBC. That's on the BBC. And then the Our League at London against York, 3 o'clock. Right, York to London's a long way anyway, but why is that game on at 3 o'clock? I don't understand it. Why is it not played on a different day? I don't get that with the Our. That's the one thing I don't get about the Our League app. But I would praise them for moving the games, because if there's no one else playing, there's more chance people will watch.
But consistently use that time for every week.
Yeah, and you'll get to a point where you'll come home from Headingley on a Sunday or whatever. Well, York always play Friday, part of the problem. But if you meet Bradford or Batley and you get home, there's a game on. I'll put the game on.
Friday at 6 o'clock before the Sky game.
But then you get people a bit at work and won't be able to go watch John, and you're killing the clubs.
Yeah, but that's kind of whatever a nice time slot leading into.
And another argument about if people don't go when it's on. I reckon, right? How many people were there yesterday? Where was it?
500. It would have been much
532. Right.
So why are we actually broadcasting a game in which there were only 532 people who watched the bloody page?
Well, that you see, that's
an opposite. And I know.
And how many actually watched that game?
And I know when I say this, people say, "Wow, but you're a big advocate for Women's Super League and blah blah blah." Yeah, well, I can be a hypocrite. We're all hypocrites these days. We're allowed to be.
I would
they
say,
obviously have a bit of a head
again, if you've got a media policy, then you have a specific time for a specific competition. So if you're filming Women's Super League, that is midday on a Sunday. If you're filming the Championship, that's 6 o'clock on a Sunday night. If whatever game you're putting on, it has to fit the time slot.
Yeah.
Because if you keep moving the game, and I know it's Challenge Cup this week, so that might be why.
Look at our show, Phil. Right, but we come in here and there's people waiting to watch because they know at 6 o'clock, 4 minutes past today. Apologies for that. We'll be getting fined. They know
what that 4 minutes.
They know they're going to be here.
Yeah.
So if you know there's going to be a game,
absolutely.
It's like the old Thursday night. How many? There's no Thursday night rugby this week. Yeah. Oh, it's terrible.
But
that's what will be on Thursday.
So you'd imagine Saturday night's game will rate fairly well.
But how many people these days even watch or listen to a programme at the time it's actually on?
Well, that's a good point, yeah.
Everything
apart
is
from
done
live sport, there's not much.
No.
Yeah.
But even live sport, people are prepared to watch, they'll watch the highlights on their Twitter feed or social media.
On their TikTok.
But if they want, whatever that was, if they want
we'll
to
sign
watch
you up, Phil.
The game...
You and Scoey. Who has? He has texted. We have got an update.
We have got an update.
We've got an update.
He's come through the latest
He's come through his latest operation. We'll stand by our beds.
Yes, he's certainly sitting by his.
The lobotomy's worked.
Well, we don't know it's worked yet.
Yeah.
We haven't tested him on those 3. No, never mind. He hasn't passed the HIA just yet. The point is that sport is consumed very differently to how we all grew up. I know we're all of slightly different ages and generations, but virtually to watch sport, certainly when I first started going, you had to be at a game. Even Premiership soccer that we take for granted. We had match of the day when I was growing. I'm not saying we had to sup out of a damp cloth. All that the rights allowed us to do.
Not in this part of the league.
Bloody luxury.
Was we got really excited about watching highlights of games that we already knew the scores to. That was the only way of seeing it. There was no live.
This was in black and white TV.
It was with Kenneth Woolstonholme commented. No,
to be fair, it's a bit like that with some games in Super League these days.
But things move on, and the way people consume their sport these days and their television watching. There are people now that don't listen to conventional radio because there are so many podcasts out there. They store them up like a hamster, and their week's listening is listen to a whole branch of podcasts that they've selected. So, it's roll your own radio, for want of a better phrase.
Yeah,
and that's how people will consume sport. Now, if they're going to do that, then the time that you play is just an indicator of to when people can access, knowing that that's going to be on, to watch it either live, because it's a convenient time, or watch some of it at a later date, or highlights of it at a later date. And we should be creating bespoke times for each competition where people can say, I will set my recording device or whatever for 6 o'clock on a Sunday because I know there's going to be a great championship game on. It doesn't actually matter where it is or what it is. I'm probably never going to get to that game because it's not a convenient time for me. May not even watch it till 10 o'clock Sunday night or possibly even Monday, but I know it's there. And that we have to do that.
And sorry, I'm just going to jump in because that then comes back to my point: is why is London against York on at 3 o'clock? When you look at the games on Sunday. We've got, there's a Super League game, Wigan and Hull, and there's all those teams playing in the Cup. The fact that it's on our league limits the number of people that can watch it.
And the people who watch on our league are the people who already know about it. Yeah. We're preaching to the converted, so our audience are people who will probably be going to those other games. Yeah. Why, if you look at the old Mo Salah thing, the Reece Williams thing, if that don't...
Those bastards at World Rugby. What a set of them.
Well, you might as well say bastards.
What are they?
This show's going downhill, I think.
Well, we ripped off they used to swear on the other podcast that doesn't exist anymore. Why does that show not exist?
But my point is, it's gone viral. If you base it on who saw the game, it wasn't even on the telly, was it, the game?
I was at the game, yeah.
You were there. So you were one of the 4,500 people that would have seen it before social media.
Yeah, I think, thanks to Steve Mascord's broadcast, maybe some people in Southeast
5,000
Asia.
people.
But it was, and that's gone viral,
It's only one game a week now, it's on at 6:15. Jason makes sport about if you don't make sport accessible for fans and families, don't be surprised when the amount of people taking up the sport is completely gone. It's one game a week.
Yeah.
Now, unfortunately, and here's the thing again with rugby, and we're all in rugby league. We don't have moan about travel times for a sport in which every club's in the bloody middle of the country.
Yeah.
I know Whitehaven's up there and Toronto's over there and Catalans are down there in London and Toulouse are over there somewhere. But it's not like football where in midweek you could have a trip from Barrow to wherever.
Torquay.
It could happen.
Kazan.
So,
well,
it's just...
Again,
I think you're right. It's an excuse.
The other thing
you can't go to everything.
There were 532
we
people
shouldn't
there.
compare
if there'd have been 40,000 there, and they said, "Well, we'd have sold 50,000 if it wasn't on 6:30 on a Sunday," you're wasting my time. I'm looking at that and going, "Why are we?" I'm going to say it now. Why are we paying them central funding to play in front of 532 people? Why?
And that's what the Super League clubs will be thinking.
And I also think that you make a very good point about other sports and their fans adapting to the modern day. You look now at the number of clubs that are in Europe, whereas Europe used to be, you won the league, you played in the Champions League, what European Cup as it was called, you may have a maximum of 7 or 8 games to even win the thing. Now, there are so many more clubs in Europe across such a great spread of time, and their fans find a way of going.
Yeah,
and that's where the money is.
Yeah, and they want to play more games.
Yeah.
Tony Incenzo on Talk Sport's been to every QPR game since 1973 or
1,200 consecutive games.
Now, not everyone can do that.
That's watching a lot of bad football.
And were they all 3 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon? No.
You know what? You can't go to watch everything. It's just impossible in modern society.
There's that Swinton fan.
Well, there's
60 years or whatever it is.
Yeah, but there isn't an 18-year-old Swinton fan who's trying to emulate him at the moment.
No, because they're not called Manchester. If they're called Manchester Lions, he might have gone, but he's gone off to watch Rochdale now instead.
He looks at the League Express.
He's got to watch Toronto.
Where Manchester? Oh, no, Manchester, I'm not watching.
And as we've said before, because you said it to me yesterday as well, they should put it on YouTube or Facebook.
Yeah,
there's no point.
That's a no-brainer. Put it on Twitter.
I think your figures would be higher. We saw that when we did the proper sport thing with the first game that was on, because wow, look at this, it's free.
You'll get people watching Mbappe and
Might watch
Guinea
it
and
for 5
Australia
minutes
and
or
New
whatever.
Zealand.
Someone's asked us about our viewing figures. They are what they are. 2,000 people have watched a video of the Wakefield Trinity women in a gym. Now, with the greatest respect to anyone, no one knows who any of those people are because they're not superstar players. They played for the team who finished bottom of the league last season. They're not the ones who are profiled on the RFL's Our League app because they've got access to all the Leeds players, because they always do all the Leeds players for whatever reason.
They haven't been invited to play in the nines.
So, but that's had 2,000 views on Facebook. Because we know if you put these things out, they're shared by people involved.
Well,
I actually asked the RFL for a response how many people watched the game, but I haven't had a response.
They won't tell you that.
The most Salah...
I'll tell you there was 190,000 people who watched every, combined, but that, what does that actually mean?
The most Salah stroke Reece Williams try is a perfect example of the way sport works at the moment. That, we can't even sell that as a rugby league try. It's been picked up as somebody who looks
cultural
like a very famous footballer.
Here's one for you. Do you think anyone...
That was the defence.
Terrible. Do you think anyone at Super League, and they might have done it, do you think anyone's gone, Liverpool? Hello, it's Super League here. That Mo Salah lad, is he about on Thursday? Could we just bob down and see him and just ask him to hold a rugby ball?
Yeah.
And maybe just pass it, and he don't have to do it. You just stand there.
Jurgen's had the key.
They might have done that. But would that not have been the perfect follow-up? Mo Salah meets Mo Salah, or Reece Williams meets Reece Williams, however you want to do it. But again, is that not something that we should have done?
It's something that you see a lot in Australia. Juventus come down and they get Cristiano Ronaldo kicking a Sheriff an Aussie rules ball. When Liverpool came out, Robbie Farah, big Liverpool fan, rugby league trying to steal
the NFL show, right? Not an NFL team in England.
Was Wigan,
right? BBC.
Wigan first game, they had an NFL player.
What happens when they come over? And they have Harry Kane kicking field goals because the money, or whether they've had to pay Harry Kane to turn up and do it, or what, I don't know. But the thing is, look, here's Harry Kane playing with our NFL guys, or whatever. Why? We might have tried it, and Liverpool might have gone, no, you're all right, lads. But I don't know, have we? These are things I look at.
Well, I think Liverpool will be quite pleased with the publicity they inadvertently got out of it.
Yeah.
What was it? Was it last year or the year before when New Zealand played at Anfield? They did the Maori, they did the half hour in front of
Klopp. They did it in the canteen, didn't they?
Yeah.
At Melwood.
That was a great piece of viral content.
The key is with this slot and what the RFL are doing, and they're doing it right because they've built this slot, and hopefully at the end of the season they can say to a broadcaster, here are the amount of people who are watching these games, and you can put these on your TV, because it's better than fantasists and morons coming out with articles and just dreams that because Channel 4 live in Leeds these days, which they haven't even moved in, they're going to show a Championship Rugby League.
Yeah.
So let's do something positive and actually proactive as a sport that may or may not lead to something in the future. It may broadcaster may pick up.
It might. And I actually think if it was on free to view, it would get more. It would obviously get more viewers. It'd get more casual viewers. This is the thing about the Our League. You're preaching to the converted. I'm still not convinced by those figures because, as I said, I think I've got 3 memberships at my house and I don't watch it. I don't watch it. I'm not going to lie. I don't watch it. But it is there to be if it's on YouTube. Every TV now, pretty much you buy, you can get YouTube on it. Exactly. It's pretty easy to do that. I think you can stream the app through your telly as well. But look, it's just I'm annoyed. I like criticising the RFL when they deserve it. I like getting stuck into them and putting them to task. I think this is a good idea. And I think you've just got to suck it up and say, right, it's for the good of the game, it might be for the good of our club. That might be the deal that in 2 years keeps some of them clubs going.
It will be.
And Championship clubs don't put still photos on Twitter and say, oh look, this should have been given as a try, because it didn't work. Still photos are not evidence as to whether something's a try or not.
No.
And you won 34-0, so what's the bloody point in the first place anyway?
Well.
I want to know who Sandy's going to support when Toronto go bust. Because it might happen in the future. So she's going to support. Well, she said she's enjoying the ride. So, if they weren't, we hope they do exist.
One thing you've got to be impressed by the Canadians is their positivity.
They love it.
Even though their team's losing, they
waving the flags.
We're all a lot more cynical.
Oh yeah, we're saying.
I think it's an English-Australian thing, but we just.
Well, we're now saying Hull haven't got a chance of winning the Super League in 2 weeks ago.
You said that.
You said that. I didn't say that.
I'm joking.
I had the audacity to say the whole car. I might get an upset, and then he got beaten by 42.
I think Wakefield are a shoe into the grand final. We know that after the.
We're going to win both. Women's grand final, men's grand final, after both. David says, can tell Gary is away ill as there are biscuits on the plate. Steve says, no chocolate biscuits this week. 4020 in crisis.
They've got a bit of chocolate
in the middle.
What we did last week, because the week before it was
chocolate's gone.
Diabolical. We actually
had diss the biscuits. You're in trouble.
No, they were. No, I think
they were ginger nuts.
All right, even the fact then, right? Let's put it this way: why were there a better selection of biscuits the week after then?
I think the game was upped. It's safe to say.
There you go. You see, so there's been a bit of constructive criticism. These biscuits are rubbish. Get some more, and I bought some more, and then we've got better biscuits. Yeah. Salary cap's gone.
Yes.
We're
if we get investigated, we're in trouble
next week.
We haven't discussed the game yet, and it's 7:20.
Let's just wait for the Warrington.
Yeah.
Con says York versus Widnes 100 miles away is a poor selection for the kick-off. What can you do?
Yeah, so
the
problem is York's quite away from pretty much most of the champion. Well, no, so that's a lie.
The other thing is,
but you like to Whitehaven.
York's an event destination as well, so you don't have to go just for the game.
Go for the Wolves, don't you?
Well, it's a historic city. Make the most of it. You know, if you can, walk round it. And
all right, Con.
All right,
Con. I get your point. Right, what's the difference between Widnes playing at Hull on a Thursday night in Super League then, or playing at Leeds on a Friday night? Why can you not go on a Sunday night? I don't know.
You don't have to go.
You don't have to go. You can watch it on the telly. I won't think any less of you for watching your team on the telly. No problem.
Tom Maguire, band, we're coming for you, Tom. Biscuit chat. Is this some sort of form of local radio, fellas?
We haven't discussed which is the nicest biscuit, so probably not.
What's your favourite biscuit?
If we were Radio Leeds, we wouldn't be live.
Oh, move on.
Jason points out Sky used to love Widnes Hull on a Thursday night. They did.
They did. I've been to it a couple of times, so I know. You know, it's you
can't please everyone.
You can, and I think you've got to look as a group. You know, we've got to say, look, we need to make this work.
One of the criticisms we've mentioned over the years is that people don't look at what's good for the sport, not an individual club within the sport, but what. Looking ahead as much as where we are now is going to benefit the sport. So is Israel Folau signing for Catalan good for the sport?
No.
Right. So we've answered that question on numerous occasions. But in this respect, what we are saying is, yes, of course there's going to be spectators who are inconvenienced by an individual fixture.
Yeah.
But for the good of the sport, this is an idea that's
on that. Can we move the World Cup Challenge about 3 hours earlier, because that way I get home at a nice time, not at midnight.
Yeah, but then you can't go to Salford beforehand.
There's no mystery.
Sounds win-win to me. So right. I might be able to get a pint in, and the pubs will still be open.
People aren't moaning that we're not talking about the rugby because they know Leeds won this week, and they don't want to turn this into the Leeds celebration.
I must admit, Harry Newman, jeez, he was.
Funnily enough, playing him at centre in his right position.
Hold on. Leeds won this week, but they only beat Hull KR.
Yeah, but Hull KR beat Wakefield.
Somebody in this round this table did think that Hull KR would win that game.
Yeah, well,
I thought there were a chance of an upset from what I've seen of them. Excuse me.
Phil
apparently, I should be able to predict. I'm not match fixing. I can't predict.
Ryan Braley missed that goal. Yeah,
no, that's you.
No.
How much money
did you
No.
Show you no money. That's what they're saying. Show you no money.
Show me the championship. So, do you want to talk about Harry Newman then? I mean, he played. He's a good player. He's a good player. I like watching him.
He was really good.
Yeah. He got man of the match, didn't he?
Was that Luke Briscoe or Josh Adokar? He was.
I think
he was phenomenal.
John, have you been on drugs?
The one thing we suspected was that Leeds would be more entertaining this year.
Yeah.
And because they were coming up against a pack that was of similar size, in fact, if anything, they probably had a slightly larger pack out with their two starting props.
They did, yeah.
They could play off.
Why did Garbutt not play?
They really missed him.
He's got a gammy knee, I think. And,
well, he has got a gammy. That's widely known. Is that why he didn't play? Okay.
And I think, again, Hull KR coming off a very important win against Wakefield in week 1, which determined the start of their season. A really emotional game against Hull where they were in it for 60-65 minutes. Takes a lot out of you.
Well, that's the problem. That emotion wears off. You can't, ride that through.
And Tony Smith was quite realistic.
And losing Jamie Ellis in the warm-up as well.
Tony Smith was saying I can't. He may have done. I can't really be too hard on my team because all you can ask for is effort. Now that effort might be misplaced, or you might play a team on that weekend that is a bit fresher than you, and going back to
when
what I
I'm
said
joking about beating Hull KR, right, you want to play Hull KR after they've played Hull because you know they have tipped everything they've got.
Yeah.
And all the reserves of energy into that game because they've got to.
By the same token, it's about 3 years since Leeds have beaten the Super League team by 50 points, so it is something that is worth looking at. And actually, they
How did Gale play?
Really well. 80 minutes again, captain for the first time, orchestrated a lot of what went on early in the game, which determined which team was going to win it. A couple of kicks led to tries. He did the goal kicking as well.
Kicked 8 from 8.
8 from 10.
Sorry.
And
it's a lot.
Were you watching the game, John?
Somewhat, I was usually getting abused
in the
on Twitter, yeah.
But they were okay. They were good. They scored some spectacular tries, and some of their kids looked really good.
Jack Walker had a great game.
Brad Dwyer, who the week before had been erratic and inconsistent, which I know is what you're going to say about Jake Connor when Hull.
What's happening with Lehman? I've heard he's
another 3 to 4 weeks apparently.
That's not what I heard.
Well,
Cruz, if you're listening.
They thought it was an ACL when he did it, but then the scans came back that it wasn't. But apparently it's taken its time to heal.
Worrying that.
What's actually happening with Danny Brough?
He's not
sure. I don't know.
He's definitely.
Please don't ask him any awkward questions. Right, ask him about chips.
I've seen him wandering around.
With a sore knee?
Well, his knee like at a bad angle or something. No, it's alright. No, fair enough. Right, okay. Well, so well done to Leeds. They got Salford this week. I think they'll beat Salford as well.
Well, in the top 5.
I was at Hull yesterday.
Yes.
Hull. Beaten by St Helens.
Has the bubble burst?
Anyone that... well, I was a bit worried about Hull when I saw the bench because there were a few of the younger lads on that if they had everyone fit won't get in at the minute. Let's be honest about that. They won't get in. They were in. And I thought they were 6-2 up at half time. It was a poor game, really poor game. But I thought once Worms went off, he was outstanding for 20 minutes. Then they took him off. Hull got on top physically, got in front, came out second half. Jake Connor, for the second time in the game, kicked out on the full. And by the time Hull touched the ball next, they'd conceded 24 points. That was it. If when people like we said, can Jake Connor play number 6? The prosecution to say no will come out and wheel out that 80 minute. He was awful. He gave a penalty away on the 20 yard Saints 20. Give a penalty away, ball in hand. He's just like, what are you doing?
Is he then a microcosm of Hull?
Well, from what I didn't go in the presser after. From what I understand, Lee Ruff has said out. Well, he insinuated Albert Kelly will play next. He wasn't available this week, he was banned, but he will play against Wigan next weekend. He's not. He's an enigma, and in big games, you talk about Wayne Bennett. It's got to be 8 out of 10. Consistency of performance. He might win you a big game, but he'll lose you more than he wins you, I think. And I just thought it was rubbish.
Hull have lost 2 of their forwards.
Yes,
Manu Mao is injured. Satay's banned.
Yeah,
there's a thought now that.
Lingy Sow played well, or Lingy Sow, whatever. He played well yesterday.
And there was a worry that he was going to be banned, but clearly he isn't because the discipline has gone through.
It was a late hit, but I was at the game yesterday with Paul Cook, and the guy he hit got up and tried to fight him. And like Cookie said, if he's hit him hard, he's not getting up from that. And there was a Saints one later on exactly the same. In fact, it was on Connor. They
lost a couple of the guys who drove them forward in the first game. And
and that's what I mean.
Are they a one-dimensional team? That if they lose 3 or 4 of those 4, or is it just again 3rd week in, 2 big emotional games, very very big and impressive win at Leeds in week 1, the derby in week 2.
They kept Saints quiet in the first 40 minutes. They were all right. They weren't great. They kept them quiet.
It's only 1 defeat against the reigning champions.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. The problem is
good time to play the reigning champions.
The problem is though. So you're making a good point. What is the plan B? Because with Connor there.
Yeah.
There isn't one. Sneed will do his job, but I mean, Sneed yesterday, having watched Connor kick, he went we're on the halfway line, he kicked it, he tried to look what he was doing, shanked it straight out on the halfway line. And the second one, he just kicked it out on the full, and it's like, what are you doing? And then Sneed, from 20 yards off his own line, kicks it down the other end. It would have been about a yard off the goal line. Fullback runs back, taps it back, went dead, so they got a goal line dropout. Sneed didn't get used yesterday. They went away from their strength.
It's quite surprising, because Sneed's kicking game is
I said down the way of the game, Wellesby for me is not a foot. And I'm picking.
Isn't he a 6?
Yeah, he's a great rugby. He's a great ball handler.
They've got some issues.
Can't catch high ball. Yeah. I think they kicked it one bomb yesterday, and it was like, guys? What are you doing?
I've heard Percival could be out for 4 months or more.
Yeah.
So they've got a few issues there.
They didn't look great, and then second half, Lomax clicked in.
Yeah, what the highlights are, mate.
It's just like, wow.
The handling and that step and the little inside pass.
You put Lomax in that whole team.
Yeah, scary.
And they would be scary. So I thought they were poor yesterday. Saints weren't great and ended up winning quite easily, but they were great for long enough to win the game. And
great enough to be the Roosters?
No, not on that performance. No, I don't. The problem I had, and I mentioned it on Twitter, Hull were beating. I thought Hull were getting on top without some of their big players, and that would be the one worry I have about Saints. But Wormser is outstanding. Once he went off, the pack lost a bit of its beef. But look, they played all right. Robert to come back. Who knows?
Roby's a big.
Who knows?
Big bonus coming
Who knows? But Sean Wayne was there. I tweeted this tonight. How good we're getting England coach to watch his England game, watch his games that England players might play.
It's going to be on the telly in a couple of weeks, apparently.
Yeah, it was good value. So he was there.
He looks very studious.
Whether he doesn't like St Helens or not, he'll be picking Johnny Lomax if he plays like that. I guarantee it.
What are the odds that Sean Wayne is on one of those? The half hour they have on a Thursday before the rugby starts, where Brian Carney and Phil and Sean Wayne will be on there before he's on Backchat. I guarantee you that. Interesting to see what he says. I like that bit on Sky at the start where they chat about stuff in rugby and they all have arguments about stuff. And everyone picks on Phil Clark.
A bit more dynamic than it used to be.
Yeah. But we're all big Brian Carney.
You're going to tell me next it's worth watching?
Yes, I'd say so.
It is, I thought.
I was out and someone said go watch it back and I did. So, I did. It's good.
Castleford losing at Catalan, is that a surprise?
Yeah, because we all tipped on them.
No, not to me, no. I noticed all those Castleford fans that were hammering me last week. Funny, I had one tweet.
It's alright, we had Saints fans hammering us this week for tipping Hull, who'd won their first 2 games against Saints, who were nil by Warrington.
Yorkshire bias against St Helens.
Yeah.
I've been accused of it.
Again, Darryl Powell won't be losing too much sleep over that performance, I wouldn't have thought.
I've not seen it, so I don't know. But, look, did I expect them to win? No. Did I think they could win? Yeah, I thought they could win. But Catalans, they were that bad in week 1. They'll have had 2 weeks of getting toasted and practising and,
Credit to them with all the circus around again for the performance, though.
Yeah.
Obviously, they turned up.
Maybe they've battened down the hatches, that might be what they've...
I think that's one of the things that Catalonian people do. It's like, you're not going to tell us what to do. We're a very proud and independent nation, and the more people that said what you've done is wrong, the more as well we'll show them that we're...
Well, he's at Hull, old Israel. There's no game this week due to fixturing mess up. He's at Hull in 2 weeks. Let's see how well he gets received there.
I think it's going to be different at home to away.
Possibly, Phil. Possibly.
So,
yes.
I think he'll be all right. But the fact that he scored with his first touch, again, the home crowd go wild. Interesting that the crowd was 8,800, which is exactly what you would have expected any week of the year. So there was no great upsurge of...
Easy bounce.
No. But Tonkin's brilliant.
Yeah. He's a good rugby league player, as we know.
And Cass off the pace, but apparently, again, solace for Danny Richardson's performance, which apparently was up there.
A big game this week for Cass.
Yeah.
Well, how long is it since Wakey beat him? About 28 years or something?
Yeah, it's a long time.
It's a long time, isn't it? It's 40, it's a long time.
I think it was 7 years.
They beat him in the opening. They beat him in the opening game of the season, didn't they? Wakey down at Weldon Road when they were about 14 behind with 5 minutes left and won.
That's right.
It's still called Weldon Road. Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So there you go. So
Dean Sampson was probably playing.
I'm going to tell you now. I'm going for a Wakefield win this week.
Well, let's hope so. I'm going to go for Wakefield win every week, obviously, but.
Well. You got to do now.
Yeah,
free T-shirt.
What did we make of the brown butt?
Don't headbutt people.
Is there any doubt that was intentional?
Haven't people been suspended from work for comments like that?
Well, I spoke to Rod, who is our new
disciplinary
correspondent.
Commissar.
Because, again, I want to come back to the fact that, injury-wise, Sam Powell has missed 2 games. Chris Hill got banned for 3 games. Now, they said, injuries play a part in the length of ban. Well, so Chris Hill's got 1 ban longer than Powell's got. And we saw a game... How's the guy from Keighley been charged, do we know?
They don't do the
It's a couple of days after, isn't it? Yeah.
Saw an injury to Brad Walker, the Wakefield loanee. I think he's
read about it,
broken and dislocated his shoulder.
A late shot?
Late shot, yeah. Didn't look great. I've seen the video. Didn't look great. He's going to be out. We understand it was a 3 months. So what happens there? What happens if that's deemed to be foul play?
I think it's dangerous basing tribunal on injuries.
Yeah, but that's they said they said it will be taken into account. I just didn't get that comment at all.
No.
I didn't get that comment.
I think the severity of the injury is taken into account with the punishment, but they shouldn't necessarily be equated. So if you might have got a 3-match ban, it could be 5 if the person you've injured is severe.
You know that we...
But I don't think it's saying, if he's out for a year, you're out for a year as well.
Yeah, that would... Yeah.
No, but...
Unless you're Les Boyd.
Unless you'd be writing people off going, yes, he's definitely going to be out for a year. We didn't like him anyway, get him off a salary cap.
Yeah. I look at it. You know, we went through that phase where kickers were getting it after they kicked it. We sorted that out. The new one now is players getting hit. Now, I was with Cookie yesterday, and when Connor got it, he went, he should get it. That's his job. We mentioned Johnny Lomax. Johnny Lomax gets it every time he goes to the line.
Take the ball to the line.
That's what a halfback should do.
It's how late it is.
Yes, and that's my point. And I think it's getting poor now. The hits are getting poor. I know Sate got banned, and rightly so. When I watched it, I thought he deserved to get banned for that.
He called a bus to get there.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. So, and it was 2 stops. He had to be on 2 stops before he got off. So I just think as a sport, we just need to get rid of that. Let's do it.
2 other things. Talking of interpretation of rules. No, it's almost seamless, like we planned it. Quick taps. Because 2 tries this week came from quick taps. Bevan French at Wigan, and I think Richardson to Alfords with Cass. All of a sudden now, have we relaxed the rule? Because I've seen referees stop players from taking quick taps on many occasions. Not only because the defence hasn't necessarily been set, because they haven't been in the right role.
Yeah, it should be the ref. It's nothing to do with the defence.
But I'd rather see.
Well, the ref was level with.
But have we changed
French when he took that tap the other day?
Yeah, which
that
is
was
great.
That was a fantastic try, and so was Alfords.
Yeah.
We want to see more.
What I'm saying is, it's not that long ago that we were seeing people like Bevan French pulled up and told he couldn't take a quick tap.
It's just down to interpretation.
Well, let's hope we're consistent with that, because I'd love to see more of that.
That's good.
I think that's important. But what's happened to this clampdown on the play of the ball?
Because
I thought the beginning of the season...
You know what? Yesterday I thought it was pretty good.
What, that people were playing the ball?
Yeah, I thought they were. Yeah.
Oh, good. Because normally we get a load of penalties in the first 3 weeks of the season, and then we forget about it.
The play of the ball was slow yesterday, as in I thought the ref could have maybe stepped in and tried to speed it up, but I actually thought he had a good game, and they did seem to be playing it properly.
Good.
Yeah. It's Man of Steel time. I don't know if they send it on an email anymore.
There's an event tonight,
We should have been there, shouldn't we? We should have been there.
Did you get an invite, Rich?
Yeah. I did get an invite, yeah.
Well, coming up in the world.
Super League do send me emails on some things, but not everything, because they don't realise.
Didn't you want to go rather than be here?
They're announcing the
panel in Manchester.
I get biscuits.
Oh, they should have announced it by now. So the new panellists on the panel include Ben Westwood, Super Ben Westwood, SPW.
Well, he's the perfect man for a late shot.
Normanton's best ever rugby league player called Ben, as we've mentioned before, and a woman with more hats than that Canadian fella off the telly. Lois Forsell, off of the telly.
Leeds Rhinos head coach.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Great move.
So they haven't sent us an email with the points, and I can't be bothered looking, so you do it yourself.
Okay.
They haven't sent me an email. So.
Fair enough.
Well, HMRC have done, but I'm not reading that. I've gone down the Bradford route.
Delete.
Say hello later. Where's Ken when you need him? Hello to Danica, who's watching as well, who was being put through her paces last week.
At the week,
the thing, yeah.
At the weekend,
what, you been in the Leeds Rhinos women's gym as well?
I'm
getting a bit worried about this.
Yeah.
No,
too much information.
I'm getting in trouble for this.
Restraining.
Rich and his secret cameras.
No.
Whoa! That's too far.
Yeah,
too far. Come on.
I'm not like. Oh no, I can't say that.
Oh dear.
I know. I can say it. I'm trying to think of anything else that's happened in Rugby League this week. Oh, we had shot clock shenanigans at Wakefield yesterday. Because the hooter went on the shot clock because there was a Warrington player receiving treatments, so we couldn't take the scrum. And the referee...
When you said we, you mean the scrum couldn't be taken?
Yeah. The referee had to speak to the player to tell him to get off the pitch and tell the captain of Warrington to tell him to get off the pitch because he won't get off the pitch. And no one knew what was going on. Apparently he's supposed to show for the full set, is this right?
You almost expect me to know the rules.
Well, I don't know. I tagged Rod Sullivan in a tweet about it yesterday, so hopefully it'll be on that TV programme with Steve Ganson. Steve Ganson's a mega referee.
On with Paul Cullen, wasn't he?
Is he?
I don't know. Yeah, we're on with Paul Cullen the other week.
There was a very funny tweet, which certainly couldn't... I don't know what to refer to that either. But it was funny. It was funny. I sent you it.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. Thanks for that, Peter. Very funny. Don't send tweets like that. We can't retweet them all like that.
But they do make us laugh.
Yeah.
Somewhat illegally. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
No, I don't think so.
Championship?
The championship, yeah.
Yes. Well, we did give it a good mention earlier on. Featherstone. Anyway, what about the pitch at Dewsbury? It's not big enough.
Apparently.
It's not big enough.
What happens at Old Trafford then?
Yeah, well, I've been working about this because, really, technically, it's a metre to the end and then 2 metres down before you hit the fence, so it's 3 metres.
I saw a tweet from
a couple of weeks before the lights went on.
Yeah.
Now the pitch isn't big enough. It's just a comedy of...
the pitch is too... I guess it's too big, isn't it? It needs shrinking.
I saw a tweet from Ian Smith saying the pitch at Old Trafford is the right size, it's just TV makes you think it's not.
No, those in goals are way too small.
Yeah.
Which Morris almost got killed in the 2013.
I'm surprised they haven't made all them boards like soft ones.
Yeah, like bouncy castles. That'd be good.
Yeah.
We probably can't project things on...
Yeah. I'll tell you what, I wonder how long it's going to be before someone in them little air balls at half-time at Leeds gets killed. I thought that on week 1, I thought, that is really bad. Someone's going to get injured. So Leeds. Injured. A bit of controversy there. Bradford beaten.
Good result
by Featherstone. Yeah. Good crowd. 30 points to 20.
So a great weekend for Leeds with Leeds Rhinos and Featherstone winning.
Yes.
And the reserves.
And the
Leeds,
reserves.
Featherstone, Batley reserves.
Batley won as well. So that is a full out.
Every single
Batley beats Swindon. Who'd have thought?
How did Batley get into this relationship? What's the relationship between Batley and Leeds and Penn? Where did Batley come in? Why can't they be friends with Hunslet? Do they hate Hunslet? Well, Hunslet hates Leeds, don't they? North and south of the river. Lee beat York 34-0. Should have been 38.
A flurry of late tries.
Yeah, from Yorkshire Carnegie.
A flurry of late tries there. 4 tries in the last 20 minutes. I think York are going to have a tough year. I know they've played Toulouse and Lee away, 2 toughest games away from home. I know
and now they've got to go to London this week as well. In Cup.
Yeah. So we'll see. I just think it's been a tough start. Toulouse beat Sheffield, who were bottom of the championship, conceded 102 points in 3 games. Worrying.
And they've got Halifax next, which ain't going to be a lot easier.
I should have beat Halifax in round 1.
Big win for Oldham at Whitehaven.
Yes.
It's them off the mark, 16-14. And it was live on our league.
With 532
people. Here's one. Who what? More on our league or more at the gate?
Crowd goes wild.
I'm only asking. And Widnes. I got told off on Twitter for calling London's win at Widnes a huge win.
Well, Widnes are one of the favourites to be in the mix, aren't they?
No, well, I'm told not. No, I'm told not.
Oh, they were.
You've got a very good coach. You've got some very good players.
Got some great youngsters.
You go notoriously pretty decent at home.
They've got deck pattern on the.
London haven't been great. I thought that was a big win for London.
I just think the fact that London have completely reshaped their squad to be unbeaten after 3 rounds when they've gone to places like Widnes is.
Although you look at it, Walter's good at Leeds and good at Fev. Dixon, 100th try for the club. Fozzard, who played in Super League, Batty and Pelissier. They've
got a new gift too.
They've still got some good
Pelissier
players.
Coming back.
What's he on now? A salad?
Some Walker's crisps has one and then. It's good. It's good.
You can't laugh at yourself, John.
Exactly.
If you can't laugh at yourself.
But I still think that's a great start for Danny Ward.
Oh, it is.
Those players that you mentioned are one thing, but what about the ones that he's lost?
Yeah.
So, with the greatest respect to the ones you just mentioned, they're not better, they're equivalent to the ones that gelling a team to get 3 out of 3 is...
And it's like we say, you get your points on the board in that division, it's going to be hard to catch up. And,
well, I think there will be a divide in that division, like there has been in previous years. That there'll be the 5 or 6 running for the top, and then there'll be 5 or 6 rooted towards the bottom, and those that treading water in the middle.
We pilloried someone's views on the bushfires in Australia last week on this programme. You know those clubs that sold special shirts and stuff? They made a big song and dance about selling special shirts when they released them. Why have they not made a big song and dance about how much money they've raised from selling those 40 quid shirts?
I don't know, mate.
And the same goes for, if any club does this, and I do understand that, where I'm putting myself on this one, why, when you're doing a charity shirt, do you not tell people how much is going to charity? Because that's why people are buying them. It makes no sense not to. You're not hiding anything. Unless you wanted to hide something, just tell us. If it's a £5, it's a £5. If it's a £10, it's a £10. If it's all the 40 quid, it's all the 40 quid. But tell people. They've got the right to know.
Is it?
Well, no.
No.
But just tell people so they know. Don't make a big song and dance about it and then just go quiet once you've sold them. Don't see the point.
Fair
Unless you're just doing it for the publicity and going it off the back of something bad.
Like Uncle Albert.
Yeah. But do buy your special rainbow shirts whenever the Catalans come to town. And, that's what we need to do. We need to buy a load of flags, stand outside these stadiums and flog flags.
Yes. Well done.
Yes.
Well done.
Let's get the gay pound, get the money. That's what we're doing.
The pink pound.
Get on the bandwagon.
Yeah, I think it's the pink pound.
For allowing crisis.
Pink pound. Get on the bandwagon. We're on now.
Yeah.
Move on, Phil.
I'll leave it to you.
As I've been told, move on.
Yeah.
You're boring me.
Move on.
Anything else you want to talk about?
I don't think so. People have turned it into a debate about the NHS versus Medicare in America on YouTube.
All right.
Apparently Wakefield last
pretty
week.
straightforward.
I can see why they would have got...
2016, that's when Wakefield last beat Cass, apparently.
What does Mark note my doubt about?
I don't know.
Is it about Wellesby?
Possibly.
Australia v Jamaica?
Do you reckon Mark Sneed went wrong because Scully praised him last week?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
About as likely as Canada, Toronto against Australia, I think.
No, you don't.
Nah, do you not think it'll happen?
Do you think it'll happen?
I don't know.
Toronto, Jamaica.
What time is it?
I see
Be a good warm-up game.
Catalan are thinking of taking their game against Toronto to one of 2 stadiums.
All right.
Is that like the Copenhagen, Dublin,
one that
Belgrade?
Holds 67,000 people and one that holds 18,000 people.
Okay.
So I'm not 100% convinced that people are interested in the idea.
Bit of a difference of opinion.
Be nice if it comes off there, Phil. There's only so many times you can say we're going to play in Belgrade or Dublin and Copenhagen and Saracens.
I think it's a Catalans initiative, not a Toronto.
Okay.
The
follow through.
The Roosters are in Barcelona. Post training against the Dragons
tomorrow.
So there has been.
Well, they've been at the Nou Camp or the
There
Camp
has
Nou.
been a Barcelona legacy.
If they go to the 68,000,
it led to a training session.
If they play the game at the 68,000 stadium, we'll simply claim the credit for Catalans playing the game at that.
Yeah. They'll claim the credit for trying to ban Israel for that. That led to 67,000.
We're going to ban everyone. Someone's going to get banned at some point in the near future.
I think it'd be us actually.
Yeah, it could be us.
Oh no, they'll let anyone into games these days, you know that for sure. It's never been easy to get accredited. I'll still let you into Wakefield, I'll have a word with Connor, you can come in.
We'll have to bring a beard.
Can you
bring a beard?
Can you get us a car parking? The big things, can you get can you get us a parking anywhere near the ground?
That's VIP.
Yeah, anywhere near the ground will do.
Not
Barnsley will do.
Extra chips. Oh, I don't know about these.
We're asking big questions now. Car parking and
some
chips.
milk would be nice, not those little crappy
containers.
Come
on, no one's a full jug of milk in the thing yesterday.
One time I'm not.
Must have got a cow. Must have started a cow.
There's a letter.
Stop the lawnmower.
Don't bother reading the letters page in either paper because they're a waste of time. There's one saying because many clubs aren't doing programmes these days. That Super League should put together a programme for the whole of the competition.
What, like they did in 1996?
Yeah, and like they did in the Championship.
That nobody wanted.
That nobody bought, yeah. Because
people
didn't
get delivered in time for the matches to start.
So it's a fine idea, but no.
We're not talking about the game being one referee down at the moment.
No, we won't. There's
There's no referees. There's going to be no referees because they're all injured.
Mine was injured.
Paul Pix is injured on social media. Yeah, he's got a calf injury or something.
Oh, my neck. That's no good.
I know. They'd be like, there's that. There's a great clip of telly from the 70s where Arsenal are playing someone and they need a referee or a linesman who's qualified, and there's the referee's injured. I know his arm's fallen off or something. So who turns up? Who pitches up? Who's qualified? It's Jimmy Hill, isn't it? With his flag getting all the abuse from the crowd. Good old Jimmy, Coventry legend. His statue outside the home of Wasps, because the Coventry City don't play there anymore. Should we buy all the championship rugby union clubs and invite them to come and play in our competition?
Possibly.
I mean, Doncaster and Doncaster could merge. Because there's no point having two teams in Doncaster. It's not like Brisbane. Or Wigan, when they have Springfield Borough.
You are right.
Yeah, Jersey. Could expand to Jersey, or they're too foreign Jersey.
No, we could have them in.
Cornish Pirates.
Will they bring their own TV?
Why haven't got a Cornish Pirate at 6:15 on a Saturday?
Sunday.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah, getting home on the hovercraft.
Yorkshire Carnegie, they can represent all of Yorkshire. And everyone will hate them.
What do we think of the World Club Challenge anyway?
It's exciting. Saturday night on the
Are you
telly.
going, Phil? I'm working, so I can't make it, sadly.
Really looking forward to it. It should be a highlight fixture. In many respects, it should be the fixture that opens the season.
Be nice, wouldn't it?
So structure your competition so you've got a big event to kick it off. Challenge Cup final, big one in the middle. Grand final, big one at the end. Have a theme to your season.
If only our season mirrored their season, then
shouldn't
we'd
play
that
any other games this weekend. Of course, everybody else is playing this weekend.
There's even a game on the same day. I mean, all right, some people like you will probably double up, but that's not the.
But that's not the point, is it?
That's not the point.
What happened when Leeds played North Queensland? Because Wakefield played Hull Carr in the afternoon. Because we did both games on Radio Yorkshire back in the day.
Did we?
Yeah.
Oh, those were the halcyon days.
You were there.
I'm looking forward to it. I think the Roosters probably will win. By virtue of the fact that I just think man for man they are the best team in the world at the moment.
Back-to-back champions.
I think that Saints will give a much better account of themselves than they did when they played South the other year, which we all built that up to be, Russell Crowe on the touchline. It was going to be brilliant. It was about 39-0 or something, and was as flat as a pancake.
Yeah.
I don't think it will be under lights at 7 o'clock kick-off. I think it'll be a great occasion, and I'm hoping the best we can expect from the weather. We don't want, Saints might want teeming rain and wind to put the Roosters off, but I'd like to think the stadium will be full and the game will be competitive, and maybe just the class of the Roosters, even without Cooper Cronk.
Because I know nothing
just pull them through.
about rugby, isn't it a
I
shame?
wonder if Ryan Hall will play.
World's best winger.
I'm not sure if he's
in the 23-man squad.
I haven't seen a squad in there. I know they're basic because obviously they're ninth team by the week, and looks like a virtual first choice team. Tedesco, Keary, etc.
It's not like when Greg Eden scored that try for Brisbane against Wigan. Just give him a bit of a sop to the English.
And then
the World Cup series, we're on to that. Is it a bit of a shame that, and I know it's been like this for years, but in a sport which doesn't have too many events, that one of our events is the World Cup Challenge, and it's just at the home ground of one of the teams.
Yeah, maybe it's a bonus of winning the comp, but is it going to be a sellout? I bet it's not.
I doubt it will be.
Yeah, that's poor, isn't it? That's poor.
Because we don't get the chance to see Sydney Roosters.
No.
Every week.
No, that would be disappointing. I have to say that.
The captain of Australia is coming over to play for his club side, and we're not selling the ground out.
No. Well, we don't know. It might be a sellout. Let's not put the boot in yet. They might all turn up.
Does anyone know? Do people know? Because
I've not heard anything about it, which is generally not. They normally would be shouting from the rooftops if it had sold.
And that goes back to the point about there should be no other games on the weekend, because fans shouldn't be asked to choose between the event that is great for the sport and watching their own. So,
exactly.
Why
if you're a fan of Leeds or Salford, you're going to go and see your team on a Saturday. You're not. But then go over and see another game.
Even if you're a fan of Wigan, are you going to go to watch St Helens on Saturday night and your own team on Sunday afternoon? The chances are probably not.
And are you more likely to go watch St Helens? They might want to go watch St Helens get hammered, but are you going to pay to go to Langtree Park?
No,
or would you pay?
But you're not going
to,
be able to see Tedesco, Cordner, Morris, etc.
There should be no. We said this before. Again, a lot of these.
But not only that, there should be no other Championship games.
No,
there should
nothing.
be no other League One games, Challenge
nothing.
Cup games. It should be the only show in town for this 1 week. And if we can't arrange that, then that says
Well,
again,
we come back to that, the word leadership, really.
Well, and if you are an Eddie Hearn and you were to say to him, we'll give you the World Club Challenge as a one-off event, it's like a World Heavyweight title fight.
Have we not considered taking it to Saudi Arabia? Because they're really big sporting events.
Granted.
Yeah, but no, I'm serious. Alright, so you say, it's right, you've got to go to Saudi Arabia, lads, but here's £2 million. They go, right, we're off. When do we go?
Have you tried playing rugby league in 50 degrees?
Don't matter. We don't have morals, we want money. This is what we want.
I think at 3 o'clock in the morning.
But isn't there a case for saying...
Israel would be big there.
At some point, he'd be lauded, he'd be chauffeured. Isn't there a case for saying if you seriously want to exploit the American market, that this is a game that perhaps should be being played on the west coast of America?
If only we'd have got someone credible, if I can use that word, to deal with the last rugby league game,
or done their due diligence on the people.
That's the point.
Hand them a tournament.
But if you go back to Eddie Hearn, it's a great piece by Ross in the Trades today, and it's even better on Patreon because it's longer.
And earlier.
Subscribe.
If I subscribe for more money, do I still get a T-shirt?
You can get whatever you want, Rich. I'll come round to your house and do a little dance.
If you double your subscription, he'll clean the garbage. Yeah.
Exactly.
The thing about that is, you could approach an Eddie Hearn and say, look, we seriously can't give you the sport because we're not in a position.
It's not like boxing or darts.
No, it's not constitutional that everybody's going to agree to give you the... But what we can do is say, here are some events. We don't run a nines tournament at the moment, so that's the nearest thing you've got to a blank sheet of paper. What we've got is, if you give all the clubs X £100,000, they'll put their best players in, don't worry.
Well, did we not say that before?
Yeah.
You said Eddie Hearn, right, Eddie? But if we want $500,000 out of this. He'll make $1.5 million and keep one for himself. Well, but if you actually let him do that, he would do that.
But one of the other things he could do it with is the World Club Challenge. Now, why don't the Australians commit to the World Club Challenge early enough? It's fair to say the Roosters are one of the more progressive Australian teams and are keen supporters of their idea, not least because their coach is a massive fan of Super League, having cut his teeth here, and
particularly French rugby league.
Well, that's why he's taken his team to Barcelona to play in a post session with his. Yeah, he's got a French wife, so it sort of works. But Wayne Bennett was a big fan as well. When he
are we allowed to mention him?
No, probably not anymore.
Burning out.
So there are certain clubs that will always support the concept because they see the bigger picture. If you were to be able to convince them that Eddie Hearn was running this event, it was going to be played in a location that every spectator knew far enough in advance, if they had to save up for something really special, like it was in San Francisco, they would be able to do it. The Australians would commit to it over a longer period of time and earlier, and at the moment we go, right, that's our season ending. Oh, we're going to have a World Cup Challenge. Does anybody know what it is?
Well, you come over.
Yeah. We'll have 3 teams, but we won't have the best 3. We'll have any 3 that will come.
Surely for next year it should already be locked in that it's going to be in Australia, if not, somewhere we've got it. But yeah,
the NRL hasn't even kicked off yet. One of the prizes for winning that championship should be you are hosting the World Club Challenge. Now, it might well be that it takes place pre-season still, and you build that into your preparations. Too difficult to achieve?
2, maybe 3 special World Club Challenge videos coming up on the Forty20 TV this week.
Is it the Wigan Manly?
No.
Right.
What a night that was.
Very good. Right, we're on predictions because we're going to overtime.
Robbed.
Castleford take on Wakefield. 7:45 Friday. John Davidson.
I just think the cast record at the Jungle, too good. They will win by 6.
I don't want to burst Mr. RSW's bubble, but I do think that Cass will probably be given the rounds of the kitchen by Darryl Pound this week. I got the impression from his post-match comments that he was extremely disappointed with his team. And even though they are coming back from the south of France, they have had an extra day to prepare. And I suspect that Cass will win by 8.
Hashtag bragging rights. Hashtag we all hate Leeds anyway. Hashtag...
Where did that come from?
Because that's what the derby is. It's the we all hate Leeds derby. We don't really hate Cass. It's them down the road, isn't it? It's the battle for the Heath. It's the WF postcode derby apart from Dewsbury and Batley and Fev. But they're in the championship. Wakefield by 8. Tommy Johnston.
I'm gonna go Wakefield. I think Wakefield will win. It'll be a cracker. 2 points. You know what? Golden point. 2 points. That's what I'm saying.
The referee's going to have to give a penalty.
He's going to have to give a penalty for some indiscretion.
Not playing the ball properly.
Hull KR versus Huddersfield Giants.
I will be at this game, and after the Leeds game, I'm tipping Huddersfield. They look pretty good. Big forward pack. Aiden Caesar, class player. That lovely little cut-out pass. Peach of a pass. I think Huddersfield by 10.
Huddersfield seem pretty settled at the moment. I know they've only played 2 games and not 3, but the combinations are already to the fore a little bit. The impression I got from watching Hull KR live is that, understandably given the fact that they bought 20 players in the close season, that they haven't yet settled into what their best combination is. It hasn't been helped by injuries to some of the players that they want out there. Matt Parcell coming back's big for them, and he did okay on his return. But I'm going to go that the dark horses at the start of the season will keep this run going. Huddersfield by 6.
I've gone way beyond that then, haven't I? Huddersfield by 22.
Wow.
It's a big number, but I think they can get a roll on and put Hull KR under the Cosh early doors in that one. Really
I think Hull KR will be a bit at home. They're always a threat at home. I think it'd be tight. But I just think the minute Giants just look quite a well organised team, don't they? So you go Giants I'm going to go by 7. I think we'll have a Caesar drop goal this week. Warrington against Toronto.
Warrington.
Bye.
Look, Toronto, last 2 games especially, they've improved and they've battled hard, but they just don't have the cattle. Like, in actual numbers, players, half of those players are championship players. They're not good enough to play in Super League week in, week out. Warrington need to put on a performance after losing at Wakefield. I think they'll win by 16.
I can't see Toronto having enough to trouble Warrington, who are now under more scrutiny than they were this time last week. I don't think anybody's doubting the fact that Warrington will be towards the top of the table and the real deal at the end of the season, and one Swallow didn't make a summer beating St Helens in the same way that losing at Wakefield doesn't really alter the great scheme of things. But,
that was a joke.
But they will want to hit back.
Okay.
So I'm going to go Warrington by 12, and Matty Ashton will get a recall this week.
Trying to work out which Rochdale Hornets players will be called up for Toronto this week. But Warrington by 18.
Yeah, I'm going to a little bit more than that. I think they'll have a point to prove. Warrington, they need to put in a big performance at home.
Sonny Bill's back.
Is he? Is that definite?
Apparently he's on his way.
Alright, that's good. Is Wilkin playing?
The scene of his greatest ever moment in Rugby League, where he didn't score that try in the World
Cup. Over the line
if I was Warrington, I'd be putting a little sign up, try line here.
If Wilkin and Williams play, then I'd be go 14, but I've just got a feeling like they might.
Their attack's just not.
Yeah, it's not good enough. It's not good enough at the minute. Although O'Brien coming back's a really big plus, but I'm going to go Warrington by 22. Saints against Sydney Roosters.
I think Saints will give it a really good shake. James Raby coming back's big, but without Coote, without Percival, and the Roosters, if the Roosters perform how they can, and their defence is just that good, I think the Roosters will win by 8.
I think the Roosters will win late on. I think Saints will be their match, particularly up front, for at least an hour. I do think that it's hard in your first game of the season as well. The one thing Saints have got are 3 matches under their belt, so they're a bit battle hardened. And yes, they've lost a couple of players, but they've got one coming back who loves this stage.
Yeah.
So I'm going to Roosters, probably by 10, but I won't be surprised if it's a Tedesco try on about 65 minutes that breaks the game.
It'd be great if we could sign Courtney Hill, because then she could touch the ball at least once in this. Roosters by 8.
Yeah, I think it'd be more. I just thought they were first half against Hull, a good team would have put them to the sword. I think Robinson means business. I just think he treats it with respect.
Probably the best coach in the world.
Yeah, and I think I don't want it to happen, but I think Sydney will win by 20. But I think I agree with you. Could run away late on, and we know they're that good. Once United. Salford Leeds.
Yeah, tough one. This I think Leeds probably got the edge, but Salford are they're a tough team. They're still getting used to some combinations, but at home they won't be easy. I think Leeds will probably nick this. I'm going to go Leeds by 4.
Early for team news, but the word on Friday night was Stevie Ward and Reece Martin will be back, which I think make Leeds even harder to beat. I think they've got a lot of confidence from the way they played. There were parts of the game that clearly Richie Dago wants improvement in, but
it's only week 3 or week 2 for you.
You do get a lot of confidence out of a 50-point win. So I think if Leeds start with the tempo that they did against Hull KR, they'll probably win this by 8.
I think it'll be a narrow Leeds win as well, but I think they're just too much better than Salford on paper. So we'll see what they're like on grass at the AJ Bell, and it will be Leeds by 4.
Yeah, Salford third home game in 4, is that right? Not being the start they would have wanted either. I think Leeds will win. I think Leeds could win quite nicely. I'm going to go Leeds by 14. And last but not least, Wigan Hull. Live on TalkSport, so I'll be there.
Again, I think it's a tough one. Hull obviously will be licking their wounds after the defeat. Wigan have not really impressed, although they've won 2 out of 3.
Defensively good though.
Yeah. I think they weren't great against one, and we got the win. They weren't great against Toronto, but
got the win.
Yeah, so they're going to be tough. I just think Hull. Yeah, I think Hull. I'm going to go by a Mark's knee drop goal like he did last year. Golden point.
Fair enough.
I think Wigan are a team that just build as the season progresses. You wouldn't expect them to be doing anything other than...
Could have 4 players back, he said, as well this week.
And I also think that there is a slight question mark now over Hull. They're still going to be without Sate and Manu Mao. So I'm going to go with Wigan being at home, but I don't think it'd be pretty. I think it'd be pretty close. Wigan by 2.
Oh, said exactly the same. Wigan haven't impressed so far, have they? But they've won 2 of the 3 they've played, and I think they'll win by 2. I don't know why.
I'm going Wigan. I think Wigan will win quite comfortably. I think they'll win by 8. I think Hull, they got shown up maybe for what Hull are the other day, and unless Connor turns around and has a big hit, or Kelly, that might be the changing. That might be the X factor that swings it the other way, but. For me, I've got to go for Wigan because I think the defence is that good. They might only need 3 tries to win it, and I think they'll get 3 tries. Done?
Yeah, they're inconsistent, I think. So someone's asked who's going to be the last 2 biscuits. That's the big
John,
debate.
he has sent over the scoring roll. He's about 14, or he mustn't get fed in wherever he lives. John, thanks for coming in. We appreciate that. Phil, thanks as ever. Rich, thank you. And we'll see you next week. Download, subscribe, do whatever you need to do. We appreciate
figures,
record numbers.
The other week,
Record numbers. If only I had a badge, I'd kiss it. Right, we're off. Anyway,
40-20 badge.